Chapter 5083. Lin Fei was very careful along the way, so he didn't encounter any danger. He even saw a palace. This palace was quite inconspicuous, and its location was quite remote. Without saying a word, he went in. As soon as he entered, Lin Fei encountered some of the palace's restrictions. These methods were quite powerful, catching Lin Fei off guard. Fortunately, Lin Fei's ancient eternal body was powerful. In addition, he had this black hole, so he was able to withstand it. As he wished, he entered the palace. This palace looked like the residence of an elder. The decorations were very neat, but from time to time, there would be some tricks. These tricks were impossible to guard against. After suffering a lot, Lin Fei stopped exploring. Instead, he directly found a small house that looked relatively safe. He directly sat cross-legged inside. He felt that this was the only place where he would encounter the least danger. And what he needed to do now was to sign in this Tenjin temple. It was just that simple. Signing in for 1 day was 1 day, 2 days was 2 days, and 3 days was 3 days. Lin Fei's life was just that simple. It was just that he couldn't sign in. When the time came, he could change places, but for now it was better to stay in this place. In the blink of an eye, it was the 2nd day. Ding! Sign in successful in Tenjin Temple. Obtained a heavenly puppet. This unexpected reward surprised Lin Fei. It was actually a heavenly god puppet. Could it be a specialty of this Tenjin Temple? Whoosh! Following that, there was a slight fluctuation in the air. A black-armored man appeared next to Lin Fei. Lin Fei had seen many puppets like this, but the puppet in front of him instantly made Lin Fei feel different. This heavenly god puppet actually exuded a dangerous aura, as if he was facing a peerless powerhouse. This feeling really surprised Lin Fei. He could actually encounter such a thing. This time's sign-in should be quite good. He actually signed in a puppet, and this puppet was called a heavenly god puppet. It was obvious that he was different and he was very strong. Therefore, Lin Fei took a look at it, and his heart skipped a beat. Oh my God, this is really a good thing. I've underestimated the power of the celestial god puppet. This is actually a supreme puppet that can only be refined by the Tenjin Temple. Mine isn't the strongest, but it can still burst out with the combat power of a 6-star. After reading it, Lin Fei sighed with emotion. So far, the most powerful person he had encountered was a 5-star expert. Of course, there was still a huge difference between a 5-star expert and a 6-star expert. Even though this Empyrean god golem specialized in close combat, its attacks were truly ferocious. There were very few at the same level as it who could subdue it. From now on, you can follow me. I'll call you Linny. Lin Fei gave this guy a name. The Empyrean god golem, which had been silent this entire time, actually spoke out as well. Yes, from now on, I'll be called Lin E. Lin Fei quite liked this name. He got Empyrean god golem on the first day of signing in. This made Lin Fei look forward to signing in here even more. He would sign in here for 3 days first. Lin Fei didn't know if the other places were dangerous or not. He tried to communicate with Lin E, but found that he didn't gain anything. The other party didn't have any information about this place at all. He didn't have any understanding of this place. His mind was completely blank. This was also within Lin Fei's expectations. It would be abnormal if this guy knew something. Ding! Sign in successful at the Tenjin Temple. Obtained Empyrean god puppet. When he signed in the next day, he received the same puppet again. Lin Fei simply named it Lin Air. Having 2 6-star Empyrean god puppets was indeed a huge gain. Although Lin Fei didn't get anything from his side, this Empyrean god puppet was completely different. This thing was indeed powerful. If 2 of them worked together, even a 7-star divine lord would probably have a headache. They might not be able to take it down in a short time. Coupled with Lin Fei's words, it was more than enough to deal with a 7-star powerhouse. The sign-in on the 3rd day was quite ordinary. Lin Fei obtained a 500,000-year-old heaven and earth medicinal herb. A heaven and earth medicinal herb of this age was indeed quite rare. In Lin Fei's opinion, this thing was just average. It wasn't as good as the things he signed in 2 days ago. The 4th day was average. The 5th day was different. The 6th day was average. For 6 days in a row, Lin Fei didn't get anything good, which made him want to leave this palace. He went to other palaces to take a look. Of course, it was best to go to the most powerful palace. That was different. He decisively brought the 2 Empyrean God puppets out of the palace. This time, there was no need for Lin Fei to directly break these methods. With the 2 of them, it was completely different. Lin Fei witnessed their almost purely violent methods. After these 2 6-star Empyrean God puppets joined forces, even Lin Fei didn't have much of an advantage. This was because their methods were indeed quite powerful. This was the reason why Lin Fei dared to come out. When the 3 of them joined forces, even a 7-star divine lord would have to step aside. As soon as he came out, Lin Fei felt a fluctuation coming over. It seemed that someone was making a move. In this situation, Lin Fei knew that the person who came in should be making a move. As for who it was, he didn't know. Originally, Lin Fei wanted to find a palace before signing in. This palace should be too bad. But just as he was about to leave, he felt a familiar aura in this commotion. After pondering for a while, he concluded that it should be true monarch Kumu. It seemed that he had encountered trouble. After pondering for a while, Lin Fei felt that he still had to help this true monarch Kumu. Without him, he wouldn't have been able to enter the Tenjin Temple. Not to mention, this true monarch Kumu had some understanding of the Tenjin Temple. No one dared to guarantee such a thing, so he directly came over. As soon as he came over, Lin Fei saw that true monarch Kumu was besieged by 2 experts. This true monarch Kumu was also very powerful. He relied on 2 treasures to withstand the attacks of the 2, but the situation didn't look too good. The 2 people attacked repeatedly and suddenly discovered Lin Fei and the 2 Empyrean God puppets. The 2 Empyrean God puppets were dressed in black robes, and they looked quite mysterious. If you don't want to die, scram as far away as you can. The voice came over coldly. It didn't take Lin Fei seriously at all. True monarch Kumu also saw Lin Fei. Fellow Taoist, please help. Chapter 5084. These people were indeed besieging true monarch Kumu. As soon as true monarch Kumu saw Lin Fei coming over, he immediately looked happy. He didn't expect to meet Lin Fei here. In this way, he would have a chance to escape. He immediately shouted. At first, the people over there thought that he was just a passerby, so naturally they didn't plan to deal with him. It turned out that the people on this floor all had a certain amount of luck. Unless such a person was dealt with in one move, they definitely wouldn't easily make a move. It was just that they didn't expect that true monarch Kumu, who was besieged by them, actually knew this young man, and this young man was actually called Lin Fei. If it weren't for true monarch Kumu, Lin Fei wouldn't have been able to enter this Tenjin Temple, not to mention signing in. He even obtained 2 Empyrean God puppets. Fellow Taoist Kumu, hold on a little longer. I will come to help you immediately. Lin Fei directly flew over. Faster than him, the 2 Empyrean God puppets directly launched an attack. Those people instantly felt a dangerous aura. The speed of these 2 black-robed men was extremely fast, and they instantly arrived in front of them. The means that were spread out in front of them actually seemed extremely weak at this moment. They were immediately targeted by the 2 people. As soon as these 2 Empyrean God puppets attacked, the pressure on true monarch Kumu immediately decreased. He hurriedly got out of it. When he looked at Lin Fei, he was especially grateful. He was also very shocked in his heart. How long has it been? In less than 7 or 8 days, this Lin Fei seems to have obtained a lot of good things. He remembered that when he came here, these 2 black-robed men weren't there at all, and he didn't feel any life aura from these 2 people, which meant that these two should be puppets. It's just that powerful puppets like these were really too rare. He instantly understood. These should be the famous Empyrean god puppets of the Tenjin Temple. In addition to envy, he also sighed. He didn't expect that when he came in with this person, he would have such an opportunity to meet him, and he even helped him greatly. It seemed that he really thought too much back then. He was also a fated person, and he was also a fated person. Compared to Lin Fei, he was too far behind. When the two Empyrean god golems attacked, these people instantly felt boundless pressure. Lin Fei's side also made a move. The saber light attacked. Once again, the pressure on them doubled. Perfected Lord Kumu didn't stand on ceremony and also activated his treasure, which was equivalent to 4 people. For a moment, they were forced to retreat. Those people glared fiercely at Lin Fei and immediately retreated, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. These people didn't dare to continue fighting here. After they left, Immortal Kumu heaved a sigh of relief and immediately took out a pill and swallowed it. After a while, the paleness on his face disappeared, and some color returned to his face. He thanked Lin Fei. It's all thanks to Taoist Lin's help. Otherwise, we would be in big trouble this time. I didn't expect to be targeted by them. These guys also infiltrated the Tenjin Temple. Lin Fei was a little surprised. This situation seemed to be a little different from his. There are still people who can sneak in here. Although Lin Fei was one of them, he would never say this out loud. Perfected Lord Kumu smiled bitterly. Yes, they sneaked in because some powerful people can find the Tenjin Temple and bring them with them. Naturally, those who are recognized will come in. The biggest reason they came in is to deal with people with good luck like us and snatch our treasures. If it weren't for Taoist Lin, I would have been in big trouble this time. Maybe I would have died here. Lin Fei came to a sudden realization. There was actually such a thing. Fortunately, he hid in the small house and signed in. Otherwise, he would have really encountered these people. Just now, he saw that these people weren't weak. They were all at the 5-star level. If they joined forces, even a 6-star might not be able to deal with them, because their self-defense was quite good. Then I really haven't encountered them before. I was trapped in a palace for some days, and I just came out recently and obtained these 2 things. Perfected Lord Kumu laughed out loud. Taoist Lin's luck is still better. Compared to you, I'm much worse. I was also trapped in a palace. There are a total of 108 palaces in this Tenjin Temple, and each palace is different. Sure enough, this perfected Lord Kumu knew more than him. In Lin Fei's opinion, there were indeed many palaces here, but he really hadn't seen how many there were. He didn't expect there to be 108 palaces. It seemed that he could sign in here for a long time. How about Taoist Lin come with me? The 2 of us can explore these palaces together. This way, you and I can help each other, and I also have some information about the Tenjin Temple. In the past, perfected Lord Kumu would never have such an idea, but now it was different. He wanted to be with Lin Fei more than anyone else. If they were together, they would at least be able to help each other. Not to mention these 2 puppets. These were heavenly god puppets. Even he couldn't get them. He didn't expect Lin Fei's luck to be so much better than his. Such a person was definitely suitable to travel with. What's more, this place was far from being as safe as he imagined. Wasn't this what Lin Fei had always hoped for? This perfected Lord Kumu obviously knew more than him. Therefore, it was obvious that there would only be benefits for Lin Fei if he were to explore these palaces with this group. There were 108 palaces here. If he signed in for 1 day in each palace, it would take 108 days. The benefits should be much more abundant than he imagined. If Taoist Lin doesn't find it troublesome, then it's naturally not a problem. Lin Fei didn't refuse, allowing perfected Lord Kumu to breathe a sigh of relief. It's not troublesome at all. To be able to explore this Tenjin Temple with Taoist Lin is naturally fate between you and me. Having such an expert was naturally an extremely good thing for perfected Lord Kumu. I don't know much about this place because I'm a rogue cultivator, so I'm afraid I'll need Taoist Kumu to lead the way. Lin Fei also went straight to the point. Perfected Lord Kumu laughed. Brother, don't worry, I know a lot about this place, but it's really not easy for me to explore the palaces alone. Now that I have you, it's even more suitable. Even if they have ideas, they won't dare to deal with the two of us together. Lin Fei and perfected Lord Kumu both laughed. Chapter 5085. With perfected Lord Kumu in the team, the situation was completely different. This guy had a deeper understanding of the Tenjin Temple than Lin Fei. Lin Fei was purely someone who took advantage of his luck to enter. If it weren't for perfected Lord Kumu, he wouldn't have been able to enter. The number of palaces they explored also began to increase. These palaces all had some tricks up their sleeves. These tricks were quite difficult for a single person to crack, but with the two of them it was different, especially with the two Empyrean god puppets as the vanguard. Perfected Lord Kumu realized that he had found the right helper. The two of them destroyed many palaces, so of course they obtained things. They weren't very good, but they weren't bad either. If they were placed outside, people would definitely fight for them. After exiting another palace, the two of them had quite a good harvest. Perfected Lord Kumu took about 40% of the benefits. As for Lin Fei, he took 60% because he had two Empyrean god puppets. He wasn't reluctant to part with perfected Lord Kumu. After joining forces, their chances of clearing the skill hall were much higher. It seems that these palaces aren't suitable for us to explore. Many of the things inside have been taken away. We have to keep an eye on those big palaces. Perfected Lord Kumu flipped through a map. This map wasn't complete, but the names of some palaces were recorded on it. Along the way, they followed these palaces. Fortunately, their luck was good. They obtained some treasures after entering, but they didn't find anything good. In the end, perfected Lord Kumu placed his hand on one of the big palaces. Let's go to this palace. This palace is relatively large, and this palace is called the Library Pavilion. There should be many powerful cultivation techniques inside. Lin Fei had also taken a few glances at this map. He naturally knew that there were a few big palaces inside. Of course, there were some that weren't recorded. It was already quite good to have such a map. Lin Fei originally hoped to sign in here and obtain a map, but he wasn't so lucky. Then let's go to this Library Pavilion. I also want to go to the Library Pavilion to see what good cultivation techniques there are. The two of them walked over and encountered many tricks along the way. Fortunately, the two of them could crack them, not to mention that they had two Empyrean god puppets as the vanguard. They felt much more at ease. In the blink of an eye, they had groped their way to the vicinity of the library. There was only one big palace here. The great palace was quiet. The words Library Pavilion were filled with a mysterious aura. In fact, Lin Fei could even feel what was called righteousness from it. It was quite extraordinary. If I can sign in here, I should be able to get some good stuff. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He knew better than anyone else that he would be able to get something good in this place. The previous palace was nothing much, but this palace was different. Now, it all depended on whether or not they could enter it. A palace like this should not be simple and should not be underestimated. There were no tricks in front of the library, which surprised Lin Fei and immortal Kumu a little. Since he didn't have any tricks up his sleeves, that was for the best. With a whoosh, an illusory figure appeared. The appearance of the phantom shocked the two of them. He did not feel anything at all. It became incomparably mysterious. Welcome to the Book Collection Pavilion. This Book Collection Pavilion is different from the Book Collection Pavilion in your imagination. Only by leaving behind your own methods can you enter one of the floors. This is your opportunity. If you can't even move this stone tablet, then you don't have the qualifications to enter, let alone obtain the cultivation methods inside. As soon as the phantom appeared, it instantly spoke to the two of them. After Immortal Kumu and Lin Fei looked at each other, their hearts were filled with joy. At the very least, they could still enter this place. At the same time, their gazes landed on a stone tablet not far away. Previously, they had already noticed this stone tablet. Because this stone tablet was very smooth, there was nothing left on it, but it seemed a little out of place. They didn't expect it to be used as a test. You go first, I'll wait by the side. Immortal Kumu wasn't in a hurry to enter this time. Instead, he gave the opportunity to Lin Fei first. Lin Fei didn't stand on ceremony. Okay, then I'll go in first. Anyway, this library should be extraordinary. Let's go in and try our luck. The stone tablet did look quite extraordinary, very different, and shone with a strange luster. Lin Fei also knew that without a certain level of strength, he probably wouldn't be qualified to enter. Activating the immemorial eternal body, he instantly punched the stone tablet. It was purely the power of the entire body. This punch was ferocious. Naturally, it became different. After this punch, the stone tablet instantly changed, like a mass of water ripples. There were ripples. There were more and more ripples. Immortal Kumu, who was next to him, had long known that Lin Fei should be on the path of body tempering, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful. After the punch landed, the stone tablet instantly changed. These ripples also increased, and with a crash, the stone tablet collapsed and turned into a black fog. Then, the black fog turned into a stone tablet again. There are a total of 10 floors in the library, and you are qualified to enter the 8th floor to choose a cultivation technique. Lin Fei was shocked. Without hesitation, he directly flew over. The 2 heavenly god puppets were also kept, and he instantly entered the library. Immortal Kumu knew that Lin Fei's physical body was very strong, but he didn't expect it to be so strong that he could actually enter the 8th floor. The cultivation technique on the 8th floor was also exceptionally strong. He had to work hard too. When he attacked and went all out, he could only enter the 7th floor. As expected, he was much weaker. He felt even more fortunate. At this moment, Lin Fei finally entered the 8th floor of the library. This 8th floor didn't have rows of wooden shelves like he had imagined, but instead appeared in a forest. This forest was quite quiet. Lin Fei frowned slightly. This situation was different from what he had imagined. It was strange. The 8th floor of the library was like this. Could it be for him to comprehend a cultivation technique here? That was a little mysterious. Lin Fei didn't move and took the initiative to observe the surroundings. He was afraid that if he moved, he would disrupt the layout here. At that time, it would affect his comprehension. That wouldn't be a good thing. After observing for a while, he didn't see anything, but it was quiet here. When he looked again, he discovered that these trees, flowers, and the like all contained some strange techniques. As for whether there were cultivation techniques or not, he couldn't tell for the time being. Sure enough, this 8th floor wasn't that easy to comprehend. It seems that my comprehension is still a little lacking. It seems that I should just wait here to sign in. After an hour, Lin Fei still didn't comprehend anything. Chapter 5086. This place was indeed much more mysterious than Lin Fei imagined. Even if Lin Fei wanted to study it, he wouldn't be able to. He didn't have any other thoughts. It seems that this library is indeed more powerful than I imagined. This time, I didn't gain anything at all. If I want to comprehend some powerful cultivation techniques here, it's no different from ascending to the heavens. Fortunately, Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry. He would wait until the next day to sign in. This place was filled with trees, but these trees looked a little different. They seemed to contain a mysterious aura. This also made Lin Fei even more certain of one thing. This place was indeed very powerful. The big shot who left behind the inheritance was definitely a top-notch existence. It was very likely that he was a 10-star existence. The strongest ones were 9 stars, but there were also some top-notch ones that were at the 10-star level. The 10-star level was a powerful existence. Naturally, not everyone could master the means he left behind. Lin Fei also knew that his talent wasn't the best. Fortunately, he had the sign-in system. Tomorrow he would see what he could sign in for. While waiting with difficulty, ding! Sign in successful in Tenjin Temple's library. Received Epiphany Bead. Can last for an hour. As soon as the reward came out, Lin Fei was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect it to be an Epiphany Bead. Moreover, it could last for an hour. This was definitely enough. Having this thing in the library was equivalent to having a super divine artifact. Lin Fei really wanted to clap his hands and cheer. The bead in his hand looked very ordinary, but Lin Fei could feel a mysterious aura coming from it. However, he didn't use it immediately. Instead, he walked inside. After feeling that he was in the center, he directly activated the Epiphany Bead. He wanted to see what he could learn from this Epiphany Bead. The bead was instantly used. Lin Fei also sat cross-legged. Then the surrounding scenery began to change. Clatter, clatter. Only a few figures were left, and these figures were constantly displaying some of their divine abilities. It was completely different from before. Lin Fei finally understood. This was the means of a big shot. Only those with a certain amount of potential would be able to see through these methods. They had even turned into the most common types of plants and flowers. Only those with a certain amount of potential would be able to see through these methods. Lin Fei was also very impressed. At the very least, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't sense it. Only now did he know that this was the real deal. The figures here were constantly moving, but Lin Fei could feel that these methods were very powerful. With so many methods, how should he choose? This became another difficult problem. Fortunately, Lin Fei was not in a hurry. He had to choose the strongest technique within an hour. He had no need for fist techniques, palm techniques, sword techniques, and saber techniques. He had no need for saber techniques either. Lin Fei's gaze followed it, the figure that landed at the furthest end. This figure was quite simple. It was an imposing figure that kept attacking, and every time it attacked, the void would collapse. His physical body was really strong. His method surpassed space and time, and any planet with life could be destroyed with one strike. This was a technique of the physical body. Lin Fei was instantly engrossed in it. This was the technique that he was pursuing. He was even more certain of one thing, which was that this big shot was also a body cultivator. This was the only reason why his combat strength was so strong. Even a world with life couldn't take it. Lin Fei's current physical body techniques were much weaker. Thus he focused on it. He felt that he could put aside all his other techniques. As long as he comprehended this, he would gain a lot from this trip. At the very least, it would make his combat strength infinitely stronger. Lin Fei had good eyes. There were so many figures, so many techniques, and all of them were really strong. This was the only thing that could interest Lin Fei. It was just such a simple thing. The figure kept punching, but each punch became extremely slow under this epiphany. This allowed Lin Fei to see it extremely clearly. He finally understood his opponent's techniques, and they were indeed quite strong. It was a pure close combat technique, but the attacks contained the combination of time and space. If he wanted to block this punch, he would need to be stronger, otherwise he wouldn't be able to take it at all. Lin Fei already had a certain level of control over time and space. Although he was still a little far away, it wasn't hard for him to grasp his opponent's techniques. A full half an hour passed. Lin Fei's gaze didn't leave, and his entire mind was in it, until the epiphany bead passed. His surroundings returned to normal. No matter how he looked, he couldn't see any changes. The corner of Lin Fei's lips curled up. He finally had a huge gain. Although I didn't manage to comprehend any powerful techniques from this big shot, my control over my physical body has improved to a whole new level. This time, only Lin Fei knew how much he had benefited from this. This big shot's body tempering techniques were really very powerful, and the power of each punch and kick had an incomparably mysterious aura. After Lin Fei absorbed these techniques and used them on his fleshly body, the results were completely different. Originally, my combat power should be about 5-star, but if I use this big shots techniques, I can now reach the peak of 6-star. It had improved a lot. This was quite thought-provoking. If he were to improve further, Lin Fei's strength would be even stronger. Even a peak 6-star was enough to make people feel terrified. Even if he encountered a 7-star, he would be able to fight. This was the benefit of having a strong body. With that, Lin Fei left the library. There was a time limit to the library. Lin Fei landed outside as soon as he came out. He didn't see perfected Lord Kumu outside. He didn't know what technique perfected Lord Kumu had comprehended. He might as well wait here. Clatter, clatter. After waiting for a long time, a few figures came in the direction of Lin Fei. Lin Fei's body had already improved, and he had a better understanding of the surrounding movements. These 5 figures actually exuded a familiar aura. He immediately understood that they should be the few people who had dealt with perfected Lord Kumu previously. He didn't expect them to come to the library. He really didn't know if they were lucky or unlucky. The corners of Lin Fei's mouth curled up slightly, and he couldn't help but smile. This was really a case of wearing out iron shoes and fruitless searching and finding them by chance. They actually took the initiative to come to him. The error-free chapter of Invincible Leveling King will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There are no advertisements on the website. Please collect and recommend the mobile game bar. If you like the Invincible Leveling King, please collect. The Invincible Leveling King mobile game bar updates the fastest. Chapter 5087. Facing these people, Lin Fei was quite happy. He could finally give it a try, because these people were all extremely strong. Otherwise, Immortal Kumu wouldn't have suffered such a huge loss. The 5 of them quickly headed towards the library. They were prepared to wait here. They wanted to see when the people inside would come out. When the time came, they would be able to catch them all and obtain a few powerful cultivation techniques. Originally, they were wandering around to hunt the children of Providence who came in. Previously, when dealing with Immortal Kumu, they didn't expect to suffer such a big loss because of Lin Fei, causing them to immediately flee. Now, they could only come to the library and wait. Their treasure told them that there was someone in the library. It was that simple. This treasure was the key to their continued search for the man. Whoosh! As soon as they got close to the library, they were instantly shocked. They actually saw the young man called Lin Fei. Apart from him, there was no one else. They were even more certain. Immortal Kumu should have entered the library. Last time, they suffered a loss at the hands of this young man. This guy actually had 2 puppets. Previously, they didn't know how these 2 puppets were used. Later on, they found out what these puppets were used for. These were the famous Empyrean god puppets. This made them even more jealous. They really didn't know how this guy could get these Empyrean god puppets. Such good things had to be used in their hands. Why did this guy have them? Unfortunately, they didn't dare to go over for a while. After the few of them joined forces, the 5 of them really weren't a match for them. They could tell from the suffering they had suffered. Ha 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 ha. It's really a case of wearing out iron shoes in fruitless search. Kid, you're actually here. If I'm not mistaken, Immortal Kumu should have entered the library. The leader of the black-armored men was a peak 5-star. Finally, he burst out laughing. The others also burst out laughing. A large bell flew out and landed on top of Lin Fei's head. There was a loud, rumbling sound. Every strike formed a powerful force that bombarded Lin Fei's body. I know you're very powerful, especially your physical body, but I've already prepared a treasure to deal with you. Enjoy it. The 5 of them instantly got into formation. After forming the formation, their strengths merged into one, and they actually possessed the combat power of a peak 6-star. The saber came slashing down. He did not give Lin Fei any chance to resist at all. They were more worried that this fellow, Lin Fei, would release the Empyrean God Golem. So long as the Empyrean God Golem was released, the pressure would be tremendous. As long as they didn't let him out, the 5 of them could work together, and with the help of this treasure, they would naturally be able to suppress him. As long as they could acquire those 2 Empyrean God Golems, they would make a fortune. There was a loud, rumbling sound. On the other hand, Lin Fei's body was riddled with cracks. The number of cracks was increasing. He couldn't help but sigh. The treasures of these people were indeed powerful. This bell was definitely specially designed for body tempering. If one's body tempering wasn't strong enough, they would be directly shattered and their body would be heavily injured, not to mention the saber. He raised his hand and opened his fingers, grabbing the saber light. The saber light instantly shattered. Whoosh whoosh. It didn't land on his body. So this is all you have. Then take a punch from me. This is a punch that I just learned in the library. I hope you can take it. Lin Fei grabbed the saber light with his bare hands and even crushed it. This caused that person's expression to change. He realized that he was under pressure again, not to mention what he said at the end. His expression sank. They didn't dare to underestimate the methods of the library. If this fellow had mastered a powerful fist technique, then things would be different. Instantly, a large shield appeared in front of them. Anyone can talk big. If you have the ability, try it. Another few saber lights slashed over, but this time within each saber light, there were dozens of attacks. After a few attacks, there were hundreds of attacks. They were going all out. They didn't believe that this fellow, Lin Fei, could withstand them. As long as the celestial god puppet didn't come out, they could naturally withstand it. It was that simple. Lin Fei's body began to move. As soon as he moved, they felt that something was different. Lin Fei's entire body emanated an incomparably terrifying aura. A punch pierced through the air. After this punch, the place they were in instantly felt as if it had been attacked by a violent storm. All of their techniques were instantly blasted away by the violent power of this punch. Even their shields were sent flying, not to mention the radiance on their bodies. This punch had directly caused the void around them to explode. Even if they had other treasures, they didn't have time to use them now. The power was distorted. The space around them kept on distorting, and each distortion brought with it a huge amount of power. 4-star divine masters were instantly twisted into pieces. Even the strongest of them couldn't withstand this twisting power for more than 2 or 3 breaths before being twisted into pieces. This was the power that Lin Fei had mastered. Indeed, this kind of fighting method uses up a lot of energy. This punch actually uses up about 1/10 of my strength. I can only use this kind of punches 10 times. It seems like my body is still a little too weak. Whoosh! Whoosh! One by one, the items fell down, and Lin Fei casually picked them up. These guys had collected a lot of good stuff, and they were all stored together. If you hadn't come over, I might not have been able to find you. But now that you've come, things are different. I can only say that you guys are unlucky. Lin Fei laughed. He began to check their gains. When he did, he discovered that they had actually earned 2 million cubes of cosmic godstones. He was slightly shocked. Such a huge amount of wealth actually came from the 5 of them. No, this was definitely not their wealth. There was still someone standing behind them. Lin Fei hadn't forgotten what perfected Lord Kumu had said earlier. He had said that if he killed these 5 people, then the person behind them who had brought them here would probably be thinking about him. There were 2 million cubes of cosmos godstones here. In addition to the rest, it was probably worth 3 to 4 million cubes of cosmos godstones. Who wouldn't be tempted? However, Lin Fei's mentality quickly returned to normal. So what if they had someone behind them? Now that he had the combat power of a peak 6-star, the only way to deal with him was to be careful. Chapter 5088. The strength of the punch was indeed as Lin Fei had imagined. It was indeed very strong. It contained void techniques, and it was really hard to defend against. One punch triggered some void techniques. Even if the opponent could see it, they wouldn't be able to defend against it. Hence, he was easily killed by Lin Fei. Lin Fei wasn't very satisfied with such a fist technique. His physical body was still too weak, and he probably couldn't even reach 1% of his opponent's power. It seemed like he had to continue working hard. Fortunately, he had gained millions of Eternity Godstones. This was when Lin Fei didn't use the reincarnation formation. If the reincarnation formation was activated, he wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. He didn't even have the ability to defend against this punch. This was what Lin Fei used to try, and it seemed like the effect was quite satisfactory. After waiting for a few days, perfected Lord Kumu finally came out. When he came out, he saw Lin Fei. He thought that Lin Fei had left, but he didn't expect him to be waiting for him outside. He looked at him gratefully. He also knew that it wouldn't be so easy for him to find treasures here alone. His impression of Lin Fei improved. Taoist Lin, you came out quite early. Thank you for waiting for me outside. I was delayed inside. He himself had entered the 7th level, and the comprehension of the 7th level was much more difficult. He thought that he was fast enough, but he didn't expect Lin Fei to be faster than him. He was already waiting outside. He was even more impressed. This was what a true expert should be like. Actually, I didn't wait for long. It seems like you have gained a lot from this trip. Look at the smile on your face. Perfected Lord Kumu laughed out loud. I was lucky to obtain some good techniques. What's left is to comprehend them. Once I succeed, my strength should increase by a lot. Even though he said that, perfected Lord Kumu was still quite proud. After all, he had gained a lot from coming here. Where are you going next? Lin Fei asked. Perfected Lord Kumu took out the map. He searched on it and finally placed it in another position. We've already been to the library pavilion, so the remaining place should be here. This should be the so-called weapon refining room, which is also the weapon room. There should be a lot of weapons here. Let's try our luck. Lin Fei had noticed this place early in the morning. It would be great if he could find a treasure here. Of course, Lin Fei wanted to use it to exchange for Cosmos Godstones. This was the greatest use of these treasures. Of course, he already had a primordial spirit, and it was a reincarnated primordial spirit. Naturally, he hoped to have some powerful treasures on hand. It was a bottomless pit. No matter how much Cosmos Godstone Forest he earned, he would have to use it to buy some powerful treasures. We can indeed go to that place. There will probably be more people there, so we should be mentally prepared. The two of them laughed heartily and headed towards the place. Lin Fei released his 2 Empyrean God Golems as well. With these 2 puppets in hand, even a 7-star would have a headache if they encountered one. Not to mention the reincarnation primordial spirit. It was also a trump card. Therefore, the current Lin Fei was already very terrifying. Whoever underestimated him would suffer a huge loss. The two of them explored along the way and met with some trouble, but it wasn't as difficult as they imagined. The two of them worked together, and with the Empyrean God Golems, they managed to barge their way through. Ahead should be the weapon refining room. Damn, this place is really different. The two of them felt that this place was much more majestic and domineering than they had imagined. There was a huge statue at the entrance with a divine blade in the air. Even though it was just a statue, Lin Fei felt pressured. The statue contained a hint of terrifying power. If it were to explode, one blade would be able to split the world. No one would be able to withstand that blade. Compared to the book collection pavilion, this place was completely different. Even immortal Kumu secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. Oh my God, why is there such a statue? Could this be the first generation blacksmith of Tenjin Temple? Apart from this explanation, there was really no other explanation. Because the statue was really scary, Lin Fei retracted his gaze. Let's not touch this thing. At the very least, if we want to enter this weapon refining room, we have to behave. Immortal Kumu nodded. That was indeed the case. The two of them entered the weapon refining room. There was no one stopping them. They had a small accident. They thought that this place would be quite difficult, but now it seemed that they had thought too much. Along the way, they saw that some of the palaces were empty and there was nothing inside. The two of them were already prepared. If there are no accidents, the good things should be in the innermost part. I'm afraid there should be people inside. Immortal Kumu came out from another palace, and Lin Fei came out from another palace. Both of them shook their heads. They didn't find anything and looked ahead. There was a passage that led all the way to the front. Hence, the two of them continued forward. A huge palace appeared in front of them. Whoosh! The two of them rushed in from the outside. As soon as they rushed in, a huge Dharma treasure came crashing down. This Dharma treasure was like a mountain covering their heads. Mere 5 or 6-star cultivators dare to come in. Scram! A cold snort, filled with boundless dominance, rang out. The two Empyrean god puppets instantly attacked. This treasure came crashing down. At the same time, Lin Fei punched out as well. This punch covered over 100 punches, and the treasure was instantly blasted out. Then they saw the situation in front of them. On the left and right of the two round platforms, there were people standing. They were either sitting cross-legged or staring. The two of them instantly knew that they had to occupy one of the round platforms. Lin Fei's gaze instantly stared at the outermost round platform. In the blink of an eye, he attacked. There was indeed a person sitting there. This person was actually a peak 6-star existence. There were a few people behind him. They didn't seem weak, but the two Empyrean god puppets made them feel pressured. As for Lin Fei, he directly punched out. This punch moved the void, and Immortal Kumu also attacked. As soon as he attacked, there was a loud boom, and the few people on the round platform were instantly chased down. Lin Fei and Immortal Kumu instantly landed on this round platform. If you don't want to die, scram. Yet another punch blocked his way. Chapter 5089. When Lin Fei punched out, the two Empyrean god golems blocked in front of them, instantly causing them to feel pressure. This was because the two Empyrean god golems weren't afraid of being injured at all. They attacked ferociously, instantly suppressing them. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a whirlpool in front of them, releasing a flood. The flood instantly swept over. A layer of ripples instantly appeared on the round platform. It was blocked. The faces of those who weren't on the round platform instantly changed. In the blink of an eye, they were turned to dust. Fortunately, Lin Fei had immediately retrieved the Empyrean god golems. Otherwise, they really would have lost two Empyrean god golems. The nearby true monarch Kumu sighed to himself. The round platform actually had such a great use. Fortunately, Lin Fei had acted quickly and snatched the round platform. Otherwise, he really would have suffered greatly in this palace. After suffering such a loss, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Treasures are coming out. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw these balls of light fly out. Before he could act, the people in front of him all used their treasures to collect these treasures. They didn't come out, as though they knew how powerful this flood was. By the time it was their turn, there were no more divine weapons. They were all taken by the 7 people in front of them. Lin Fei wasn't in a rush. Since he had come here, he would definitely be able to snatch these treasures. After the divine weapons were taken, the flood instantly disappeared. It was as though nothing had happened in the entire palace. But Lin Fei knew that the power just now was extremely powerful. It contained a destructive power, and no one would dare to take it head-on. Just by looking at the people in front of him, he could tell that all of them were extremely powerful. All of them had the power of 7 stars. The 2 at the very front were actually 8 stars. No wonder they dared to come here. Fellow Taoist Lin, these people are extremely powerful. If they aren't 7 stars, then they are 8 stars. I'm afraid we're in trouble. True monarch Kumu secretly sent to Lin Fei. He naturally felt the pressure. After all, his power was only SOSO. If he hadn't been with Lin Fei, he really wouldn't have been able to come here. It would be a lie to say that he was not nervous. Lin Fei replied, "It's fine. Since we're on the same side, they won't make a move easily. We're not that easy to deal with." Lin Fei was confident. This place was filled with either 7-star or 8-star cultivators. It looked quite intimidating, but if a fight were to break out, it was hard to say who would be the victor. "Brett, did you kill my men?" A cold light flashed over. The 2 Empyrean god golems instantly blocked in front of him, nullifying this attack. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't push everything onto me." A middle-aged man on the other side snorted coldly and instantly attacked. The Empyrean god golem wasn't weak either. It immediately blocked the attack. Lin Fei immediately realized that this person might be one of the people from before. He had robbed him of millions of universe godstones. "I know who you are. You've killed my men because you've left their scent on your body. I can't be wrong. You've got guts. Don't you know that in the Dichio kingdom, people can't be killed by anyone?" The middle-aged man was very certain. His men were killed by this guy in front of him. After his attack, it was instantly blocked by the Empyrean god golem. The others were silent. They could already tell that the young man was more powerful. His fist technique was very domineering. He could easily shake one's body. Although 7-star and 8-star cultivators didn't think much of it, people like this were definitely not to be trifled with. Hence, it was better to just watch the show. Now that the people from the Dichio kingdom had made a move, it was best. As a newcomer, Lin Fei naturally didn't know how powerful the Dichio kingdom was. However, true monarch Kumu, who was next to him, knew about it. Daoist Lin, the Dichio kingdom is considered quite powerful in the star field. They have several 9-stars experts. They can be considered a first-rate force. It was no wonder that a first-rate force was so arrogant. Lin Fei didn't expect to meet this person from the Dichio kingdom here. "You said that I killed your men. I also think that you stole something from me. Come at me if you can. Don't talk nonsense." Of course, Lin Fei wouldn't admit it. After all, it was not a small matter that he had 3 to 4 million universe godstones on him. If he admitted it, he was afraid that the people around him would have designs on him. Now these people were watching. They probably wanted to test his ability. Previously, his methods had indeed made them feel pressured. However, they were more afraid of him. No one could guarantee that there wasn't a great expert behind him. The middle-aged man from the Dichio kingdom snorted coldly. "There's no point in quibbling. I will remember you. You won't have a good life after killing my men." Of course, this person wouldn't say that 3 to 4 million universe godstones were taken by this guy. He stared at Lin Fan coldly and didn't dare to make another move. This was because he could see that these 2 puppets were very powerful. However, he couldn't recall what kind of puppets they were. If they are powerful, just bring them over. If they aren't powerful, then stop talking. Lin Fei laughed out loud. The 2 Empyrean god puppets attacked again. This time, it was the Empyrean god puppets' turn to show their prowess. The 2 Empyrean god puppets were very powerful. They were about 6 stars. In addition, they were invulnerable. Their combat power was limitless. The middle-aged man from the Dichio kingdom had an ugly expression on his face. The people who were watching recognized them immediately. These were the extremely rare Empyrean god puppets. Their expressions changed slightly. At this moment, no one made a move. However, they all remembered the Empyrean god puppets. Empyrean god puppets were good stuff. It would be great if they could get their hands on them. When their gazes fell on this young man, they were even more puzzled. None of them had Empyrean god puppets. How did this guy get Empyrean god puppets? Could it be that an even more powerful person had helped him create this Empyrean god golem? These 2 Empyrean god puppets were enough to suppress a 6-star expert. Even a 7-star expert would be in trouble for a while. This 7-star expert from the Dachio kingdom was indeed hard to deal with. He couldn't beat these 2 Empyrean god puppets at all. It would be very difficult to collect them. It seems that your methods are the same. If you want to deal with me, you alone won't be enough. Call more people over. Lin Fei called back. The 2 Empyrean god puppets stood to the left and right. Just by standing there, it really made people feel different. If you don't dare to make a move, then shut your mouth. I, Lin Fei, am not that easy to deal with. Chapter 5090. Lin Fei's methods were indeed making things difficult for Zhao Fengtian. For a moment, he was unable to gain any advantage. Instead, his expression turned ugly. As for the others, they were all wondering who Lin Fei was. However, no matter how they thought about it, they found him unfamiliar. It was as if this person had appeared out of nowhere. However, he was quite daring to provoke the Daikyu kingdom. Everyone knew that the Daikyu kingdom was a first-rate force and was very powerful. Zhao Fengtian from the Daikyu kingdom was also very powerful and had a very bad temper. He was not very strong, only around 7 stars. However, everyone had to give him face. No one dared to do anything to Zhao Fengtian. Everyone knew that the people of the Daikyu kingdom were very narrow-minded. Anyone who offended them would basically be uprooted. Therefore, everyone in the circle would try not to offend them if they could. Of course, the Daikyu kingdom would not be so stupid as to offend people everywhere. Of course, this was nothing to a young man like Zhao Fengtian. Zhao Fengtian's gaze had been fixed on Lin Fan the entire time and had never left him. In his opinion, Lin Fan was doing it on purpose. Those 2 Empyrean god puppets were too tempting. The others also recognized that they were Empyrean god puppets. The more they did this, the more uncomfortable they felt. Where did this kid come from? He actually had Empyrean god puppets. This thought was quickly put to the back of their minds because divine weapons and treasures would appear from time to time. They had to take these divine weapons and treasures fiercely. If they missed this opportunity, it would not be so easy to get these divine weapons and treasures. Therefore, all of their thoughts were on this. The 2 8-star cultivators at the front naturally took the most, while the people at the back naturally took the least. Lin Fei's position could be said to be the one with the least number of treasures. Not a single one. This was because they directly divided the treasures and did not give Lin Fei any chance at all. Although they would not attack Lin Fei, they would not let Lin Fei have the chance to get these treasures either. Daoist Lin, the situation is not right if this goes on. These people are not giving us any chance at all to take the treasures. Immortal Kumu transmitted his voice over. He was quite helpless. This was because any one of these people was more capable than him, and their backgrounds were much more powerful. His only hope was fellow Daoist Lin. After all, Lin Fei was quite domineering and unfathomable, able to capture even an Empyrean god golem. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes. It could also be seen that some of these divine weapons and treasures were indeed quite good. If his reincarnation primordial spirit could obtain such a divine weapon, its combat power would increase greatly. We really have to think of a way. They won't attack us because they haven't seen through us. However, they definitely won't let us snatch these treasures. Lin Fei, of course, knew what was going on. These people were really narrow-minded. After all, they were all in the same circle. This was understandable. Since they were in the same circle, they would never give outsiders a chance to snatch the treasures. However, to snatch those treasures from their hands is truly too difficult. It's as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Immortal Kumu really couldn't think of any other way. Lin Fei was also pondering. Whoosh! Another torrent of water came. This time, the power of the flood seemed to have increased quite a bit compared to before. It was quite astonishing. This time there were many treasures as well. There were actually more than 10 of them. This time, everyone was exceptionally spirited. They all used their own methods. And right at this moment, The two Empyrean god golems in front of Lin Fei flew in. Just now, Lin Fei had been pondering how he could seize the treasures. After pondering for some time, he felt that he would only have a chance when the flood came out. This was when the power was at its greatest. These people didn't dare to enter the flood because they couldn't withstand it at all. But the Empyrean god golems were different. Lin Fei hadn't been able to imagine this before. But afterwards he was certain that the Empyrean god golems could withstand this power. After all, these were golems produced by the Tenjin Temple. Most likely this was the effect. Lin Fei was prepared to give it a try. Whoosh! The Empyrean god golems entered. As soon as they entered, they didn't feel any of the power wash over them. Lin Fei felt a surge of joy in his heart. The heavens really are on my side. My method really is effective. The two Empyrean god golems charged straight in. As soon as they charged in, the power passed through their bodies, allowing them to seize the treasures. They stared at one of the mirrors. This seemed to be an 8 trigrams mirror, but it seemed to be quite high grade. The two Empyrean god golems charged in. Zhao Fengchen had his eyes on this item as well. When Zhao Fengchen saw the two Empyrean god golems charge out, his face instantly changed. Bastard! You dare take what belongs to me? He attacked once more. However, as soon as his techniques entered the flood, a large portion of them were lost, while the rest were intercepted by the Empyrean god golems. Thus, the first 8 trigrams mirror flew over. It successfully landed in Lin Fei's hands. Lin Fei casually collected it, then followed the two Empyrean god golems to the next treasure. Such a fast speed also caused the expressions of the surrounding people to change. They truly had no idea that Empyrean god golems could be used in this manner. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived. They had to seize the Empyrean god golems. If they didn't, they would be in deep trouble. Perhaps the majority of the treasures here would end up in this fellow's hands. Right now, all they could do was feel envy. They had spent countless trials and tribulations in order to find a spot here, but acquiring these treasures would be rather difficult. They didn't expect that this young man named Lin Fei would be able to do it so easily. It truly left them speechless. How could there be a fellow like this? Lin Fei, you dare? Those are ours. Hurry up and hand them over. Otherwise, you'll regret it later. The other 2 figures on the platforms all glared angrily at him. By now, the Empyrean god golems had already returned with 2 treasures. These 2 treasures landed in Lin Fei's hands. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared completely. The nearby True Lord Kumu watched as well, blinking. He had acquired 3 treasures just like that. This was a bit too fast. Only, when faced with the 3 figures on the platforms, True Lord Kumu couldn't help but secretly sigh. It seemed as though he had offended someone again. Fellow Taoist Lin is so mighty and domineering. He truly was in awe of this sort of ability. In fact, this was the first time he had ever heard of an Empyrean god golem having such an ability. Chapter 5091. In this round, 3 of the treasures had been taken by Lin Fei. Naturally, they didn't wish for Lin Fei to take away any of their treasures. Thus, they were all extremely vigilant. Never would they have imagined that they would actually have to use an Empyrean god golem. This Empyrean god golem was fairly powerful. As soon as it appeared, it made them feel helpless. Their Empyrean god golem wasn't affected at all. In fact, it was even easier for them to use it. All of their techniques were suppressed, causing them to instantly lose 3 treasures. In the blink of an eye, this round was over. Everyone's gazes fell upon Lin Fei. This sort of fellow definitely couldn't be allowed to remain here. Otherwise, quite a few of the treasures would have been taken away by this fellow. But this person was a stranger to them, and they had no idea where he had come from. Zhao Fenchen's gaze was murderous. They had lost a treasure. Lin Fei, hurry up and hand over our treasures. You don't deserve them. The same goes for this Empyrean god golem. Don't blame us for attacking. You aren't qualified to be here. The people on the 3 platforms all stared at Lin Fei, as though as long as Lin Fei said the word no, they would immediately attack. Lin Fei wasn't surprised at all. He had been prepared for this long ago. If you want my Empyrean God Golem and my treasures, then go ahead and attack. If worst comes to worst, I'll take you down with me. Are you afraid or not? Lin Fei began to laugh. I heard that the self-detonation of this Empyrean God Golem is extremely powerful. I just don't know if you people will be able to withstand it. In any case, it doesn't matter if one of me dies. If I can drag everyone down with me, I'll naturally be very happy. At least we'll have companions on the road. Lin Fei's words instantly caused the faces of everyone present to change. The Empyrean God Golem wasn't any other golem. They could tell just now that it was definitely different. If it really did self-detonate, not just anyone would be able to withstand it. This young man was going too far. Could it be that he really wanted to take them down with him? The looks on the faces of these 7-star experts had changed. They really didn't dare to take this risk. They wanted both the Empyrean God Golem and the treasure. Of course, the Empyrean God Golem was still the most important thing, but they naturally didn't want to see it end up in mutual destruction. If there was another way, they would naturally be more than happy to do it. In this way, the gazes of several people on the round tables immediately fell on the first 2 round tables. This was because there were 2 8-star experts there, and those 2 were naturally the most powerful ones. If they were to act, they would naturally be able to take down the Empyrean God Golem. The 2 8-star powerhouses also looked over. Their gazes fell on Lin Fei. After exchanging glances, one of them smiled. I'm not interested in this. Naturally, they all knew about this person who had no interest. In the circle, he was only interested in finding all kinds of mystic realms to increase his strength. As for the other things, it really wasn't worth paying attention to. The other 8-star was different. There was a tinge of greed on his clean-nosed face. Earlier, he had recognized the Empyrean God Golem, but he guessed that it would only be of average use. But now, things were different. This thing would give him an enormous advantage when fighting over divine weapons and treasures. Do you know who I am? I am Patriarch Firecloud. I am interested in your Empyrean God Golem. Hand it over, and I will let you leave this place safely. This is my promise to you. Now that Patriarch Firecloud had spoken, the others fell silent. After all, Patriarch Firecloud was an 8-star expert, extremely powerful. If he attacked this fellow, Lin Fei wouldn't be able to take him at all. True Lord Kumu had been so frightened that he was shaking. Finally, the 8-star expert had arrived. A single glance caused him to panic, and he didn't dare to meet his gaze at all. But Lin Fei was all smiles. So it is Senior Patriarch Firecloud. You are planning to rely on your power to bully a junior like me. If you want to take my Empyrean God Golem, come at me. I'll immediately blow it up. Lin Fei didn't know how powerful the explosion of the Empyrean God Golem would be, but these people definitely wouldn't be able to easily take it. Even this 8-star expert, Patriarch Firecloud, was the same. Most likely, he knew better than anyone else that this Empyrean God Golem would most likely have an advantage when fighting over divine weapons and treasures. As for whether or not it would be able to withstand the explosion, this fellow probably didn't dare guarantee it. Patriarch Firecloud's face instantly turned ugly to behold. You really are quite bold, fellow. Then let's see if you have the confidence to blow up the Empyrean God Golem. A hand stretched out. As soon as this hand appeared, Lin Fei instantly felt as though he had fallen into a different void. This was an extremely marvelous technique. Lin Fei knew that this should be a spatial technique. It was fairly powerful. At the same time, a cold voice rang out. Right now, I can give you one more chance. Hand over the Empyrean God Golem. Otherwise, you will immediately regret it. Within this chaotic space, Lin Fei seemed to have lost all connection with his surroundings. In fact, he even felt as though he had lost control of the Empyrean God Golem. However, he knew that this was most likely a misconception. This was the power of an 8-star expert. If you have the ability, then destroy me first. Otherwise, you won't be able to take this Empyrean god golem. Don't think that I won't know just because you used a spatial technique. Lin Fei began to laugh loudly. One punch after another exploded forth, and then a hint of disturbance appeared in the void. An enormous finger stabbed out, causing the entire void to tremble. An enormous black hole instantly appeared, and then one samsara primal soul after another walked out as well, instantly forming a grand reincarnation formation. Isn't this just the technique of an 8-star expert? Today, I'll test out this technique and see what it is like. Is it as powerful as I imagined it to be? I hope you won't disappoint me. Patriarch Firecloud did indeed attack. He used his own methods right from the start. He was determined to win. However, what happened next caused his pupils to instantly shrink. He saw 10 primal souls walk out from behind him. These 10 primal souls gave off a terrifying aura, and he immediately recognized them. This was the legendary Samsara primal soul. This was the strongest technique of the Samsara Emperor in the past. The moment this formation appeared, it could suppress one's technique and strength. Not to mention that the black hole behind him could actually absorb attacks. There was even a dangerous aura within the black hole. Where did this fellow come from? Chapter 5092. Many people were elated by Patriarch Firecloud's move. At the very least, this young man couldn't take it at all. Even Zhao Fenshin was the same. He almost clapped his hands and cheered. Who asked you to be cocky and put on airs? Great, now everything will be snatched away by others. They didn't say a word and just watched this guy get killed by Patriarch Firecloud. But after Patriarch Firecloud made his move, they felt a little different. They vaguely felt that this guy named Lin Fei didn't seem to be injured at all. Instead, he withstood the attack. The one who saw it the clearest was the other 8-star powerhouse, the divine Lord Observing Moon. He was a little surprised. His eyes could see through the outer layer. He could see directly inside. Naturally, he saw the 10 essence souls. As soon as he saw the 10 essence souls, he knew what kind of essence souls they were. That was the famous reincarnation primordial spirit. Most importantly, 10 reincarnation primordial spirits could cast the reincarnation grand array. They could suppress one's strength in an instant. Not to mention that there was a black hole behind this young man. This black hole also contained a dangerous aura. He knew he had made a mistake. He didn't expect this kid to be so powerful and cultivate the reincarnation essence soul. Moreover, there were 10 reincarnation essence souls. Since when did such a powerful prodigy appear? The divine Lord Observing Moon naturally knew how powerful the reincarnation emperor was. Back then, he was considered to be at the top level. It was a pity that he didn't make a breakthrough. However, no one dared to look down on his reincarnation array. However, it was very difficult to cultivate the reincarnation array. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to cross the threshold. Even the more powerful ones had only managed to cultivate 7 or 8 primordial souls with great difficulty. Now that there was someone who cultivated 10 essence souls and cast the reincarnation array, things were different. This time, Patriarch Firecloud was probably going to suffer a little. Fortunately, his technique wasn't on the surface, but in the depths. Therefore, everyone couldn't see it clearly. If it wasn't for that, they would have been scared out of their wits. How about it, Patriarch Firecloud? My means are pretty good, right? If you have the ability, then continue. I can hold on. Besides, I still have some big moves that I haven't used yet. If you want to have a taste, I'll grant you your wish. Lin Fei threw caution to the wind. Once the reincarnation array was activated, the power of the array was reduced, not to mention the black hole behind him. That way, when the attack landed on Lin Fei's body, he would naturally be able to withstand it. Compared to before, the current Lin Fei's strength was indeed very different. At the very least, if the 8-star Fire Cloud ancestor wanted to make a move, it wouldn't be easy to suppress him unless he went all out. In that case, Lin Fei indeed wouldn't be able to endure it. However, as long as he brought out his means, he didn't believe that Ancestor Fire Cloud wouldn't think twice. In fact, Ancestor Fire Cloud did sense an extraordinary aura from Lin Fei. There was the reincarnation, primordial spirit, and the black hole. Most importantly, he had cultivated 10 reincarnation, primordial spirits. If his strength continued to increase, the reincarnation matrix would be activated. In the same realm, there was almost no one who could match him. Such a person instantly made his scalp tingle. He knew that there was already someone standing behind this guy, who was at least an 8-star expert. If he was unlucky, it was highly possible that he was a 9 stars expert. This wasn't a good thing. With this comparison, Ancestor Fire Cloud regretted making a move. Why did he make a move so rashly? Youngsters nowadays are really too hot-tempered. Wasn't this a trap for experts like them? It wasn't easy for them to cultivate to this realm. If they offended an 8 stars and then a 9 stars, it would be a little terrible. One look and he knew that this guy was definitely someone's personal disciple. All of them had such means, but he had never heard of such means. Actually, I just wanted to see how strong you are. This is called no discord, no concord. You youngsters are getting stronger and stronger. We are all old. Ancestor Fire Cloud laughed dryly and retracted his hand. In his opinion, there was no need for him to make another move. Who knew what trump cards this guy had? It was better to get someone else to deal with this big rock. He didn't have the capability. Lin Fei knew that this would happen. However, he didn't intend to fight tit for tat. After all, this guy was an 8 stars. He had already tested him. His reincarnation array, the black hole, and his physical body could indeed withstand the power. Of course, as time went on, it would naturally be strenuous for him to attack more. This was the best outcome. I also think that we did it by accident. After all, it's normal to snatch something. It's just that some people sowing discord isn't a good thing. Don't you think so? Ancestor Fire Cloud knew what was going on the moment he heard this. This guy, Lin Fei, probably had designs on Zhao Fenshin. Zhao Fenshin was from Daikyu country, which was also a first-rate force. Although Ancestor Fire Cloud wasn't afraid of him, he was naturally unhappy to get into such trouble. I won't get involved in such matters. You can deal with it however you want. The conversation between the two ended in an instant. Everyone outside was watching. In the blink of an eye, they saw the scene return to normal. Then they saw the young man on the round platform, Lin Fei. However, Lin Fei didn't seem to be affected at all. He was all smiles. Sorry, I made everyone happy for nothing. These words weren't pleasant to hear. They couldn't wait for Lin Fei to be destroyed by Ancestor Fire Cloud. Then he would snatch away his Empyrean God puppet. However, the scene in front of them left them in disbelief. How could this be? This was completely different from what they had imagined. Zhao Fenshin's eyes were about to pop out. That was Ancestor Fire Cloud, an 8-star expert. They were the two most powerful 8 stars on the round platform. One of them, Divine Master Moonwatch, didn't make a move. Only Ancestor Fire Cloud would. Now, even Ancestor Fire Cloud couldn't capture him? Or did this guy have some trump card? Other than this explanation, it was really hard to believe. Immortal Kumu, who had been standing at the side, also heaved a long sigh of relief. Daoist Lin was amazing. He was actually safe and sound after fighting with Ancestor Fire Cloud. He was sure that they had fought just now, and his methods were very fierce. However, Lin Fei's methods were even more terrifying than he had imagined. He was even happier in his heart. It seemed that he had gotten to know a super promising person. Chapter 5093. The current situation was indeed quite surprising to everyone. They thought that this guy was dead for sure, but something unexpected happened. No one knew why Patriarch Hua Yin didn't make a move. Did this guy have a trump card? Hence, everyone had a strange look on their faces. They weren't as arrogant as they were at the beginning and were pondering. You've suffered a loss. An 8-star powerhouse actually suffered a loss in the hands of a young guy. This guy is quite strange. The divine Lord Observing Moon transmitted his voice with a smile. Patriarch Hua Yun smiled bitterly. Who knows? This guy is indeed strange. He actually cultivated the reincarnation array. I wonder what's the relationship between him and the reincarnation emperor. Also, this black hole can absorb attacks. This guy's physical body is exceptionally tough. Damn it. When did such a powerful elite appear? If it was any other time, it would be fine. However, it happened at this time. It was really unbelievable. Anyway, this guy is very strange. Let's just snatch our own things. Anyway, we won't lose anything. If Patriarch Huiyin was given another chance, he wouldn't do anything to this guy named Lin Fei. There was no need for that. This guy was a nemesis. It was better not to offend such a person. Otherwise, he would suffer. He could tell. If this guy was a little stronger, he would be invincible in the same realm, because he couldn't exert the full power of the primordial spirit array for the time being. However, it could reduce the power of his means to a certain extent. I've had a feeling since a long time ago that some powerful fellows have emerged in this generation of our cosmos. Each and every one of them is very powerful. Wasn't there an 8-star expert killed by a 7-star junior not long ago? It's really scary. The divine Lord Observing Moon spoke again. He indeed felt it, especially after seeing it with his own eyes today. He felt that this young man was indeed very different and very powerful. It was really not good to offend such a person. Patriarch Hu Yun also nodded. Yes, such a person does have a certain amount of luck. We still have to be careful. Both of them were 8 stars and were naturally very powerful. However, they were exceptionally well informed. Naturally, he knew some of the things that had happened in this circle, including some powerful children of Providence. These fellows were all very powerful. They were able to crush experts of the same generation, even though they were only in the first realm. No one would believe it, even if it was said, but from time to time, news would come out. Everyone had no choice but to take it seriously. The 2 8-star cultivators did not make any further moves. This was because, in the process of snatching the Dharma treasures, neither of them made a sound. It was useless to say anything. They couldn't compete with this young guy at all. This young fellow relied on those 2 Empyrean god golems to attack from time to time. He truly made them feel helpless. If they wanted to take action, even Patriarch Firecloud could not do so, much less them. If a fight really broke out and he was killed here, he would really become a laughingstock. Everyone remained silent. Lin Fei thought that they would make a move, but it turned out that they were happy for nothing. Instead, they were snatching more and more items. Immortal Kumu was overjoyed to see so many treasures. Where else could he find such a good thing? Ding! Sign in successful. Received 3 heavenly god puppets. On this day, finally, Lin Fei received a piece of good news. He obtained another Empyrean god puppet. Previously, he obtained 2 Empyrean god puppets. Now, in the blink of an eye, he obtained 3 more. There were already 5 innate god puppets. Previously, the 2 Empyrean god puppets still made Lin Fei feel a little unhappy. When snatching these treasures, there was still some pressure. Now that there were 5 of them, it was completely different. This reward was really worth it. If these people knew about it, they would probably cry until they fainted in the toilet. No matter what, Lin Fei had already decided to take out the other 3. Another round of treasures came out, but this time there weren't many treasures, only 4 in total. It was a very normal thing to do here, but just as they made their move, they saw a figure flying in. It locked onto a treasure. The Empyrean god puppet's hand moved, causing their expressions to change, especially Divine Lord Moonwatch and Ancestor Firecloud. They looked at each other in disbelief. They thought that Lin Fei had already used up all his trump cards, but now it seemed that he hadn't. He took out 5 Empyrean god puppets at once. It turned out that he had hidden 3 before. This guy was too scary. He was definitely a son of Providence. Zhao Fengchen and the others were so angry that their eyeballs almost fell out. This was a rare treasure, but now it was actually joined together by 5 Empyrean god puppets. It was snatched away. Zhao Fengchen didn't dare to have any thoughts at all. Even 2 8 stars were indifferent. If it were him, wouldn't he be in big trouble? Hence, he could only watch helplessly. At first, I thought that this kid only has this much, but it seems that I've underestimated him. Fortunately, you and I are both 8 stars. Otherwise, we would really have gained less from this trip. Ancestor Fire Cloud didn't want to offend Lin Fei. It was completely meaningless. Who knew how many more Empyrean god puppets this fellow had? Empyrean god puppets were invulnerable and extremely powerful. These 5 alone were enough to make a 7-star expert feel uncomfortable. Even an 8-star expert wouldn't be able to break through their blockade in a short period of time. This was the power of Empyrean god puppets. Divine Lord Moonwatch sent a mental message as well. Right, this fellow really is too strange. The 2 of us really aren't easy to deal with. The 2 of them weren't greedy. They had gained some treasures. Now that this fellow had come, they would naturally be able to gain some treasures as well. But the others would be completely stupefied. This was because the chances of them getting the treasures were getting lower and lower. In reality, this really was the case. After the 5 Empyrean god puppets appeared, one treasure after another was collected by Lin Fei. The others could only watch helplessly. Lin Fei knew how to do things. He gave 2 treasures to the 2 8-star experts. As for the others, they would have a miserable time fighting over the treasures. They wouldn't be able to get anything good at all. Of course, if there was no comparison, there would be no harm. 8 stars would be able to get them. 7 stars wouldn't stand a chance. And Zhao Fengchen and the others behind them would have to suffer unspeakably. Their eyes were filled with hatred as well. But of course, they quickly retracted it. No one knew better than them that at a time like this, it was best not to get angry. Chapter 5094. The 5 Empyrean god puppets helped Lin Fei immensely. The number of treasures he obtained increased. At the very least, every treasure had some power. He used them on his primordial spirits. This way, Lin Fei's reincarnated primordial spirits had treasures. This made things very different. If it was just 1 treasure, it would have been fine. But the 10 reincarnated primordial spirits all had 10 treasures, and their strength increased immediately. The others might not have understood, but Patriarch Firecloud and Lord Moonwatch could see it clearly. Just like that, he stayed here for about half a month. Everyone was teleported out by a force. The place was closed. Everyone was unwilling, because they didn't get much. Most of the treasures were taken by Lin Fei. Patriarch Firecloud and Lord Moonwatch glanced at Lin Fei, then left without saying anything. They didn't plan to attack. After they left, the remaining people looked at each other. You looked at me, I looked at you, and then left without saying a word. After all, Lin Fei was still quite mysterious to them. At this moment, none of them dared to be cannon fodder. Zhao Fengchen gritted his teeth and left. He didn't have the guts to attack, but as soon as he left, someone attacked. A reincarnation great array instantly enveloped them. Zhao Fengchen's strength was instantly reduced by 30%. Then, 10 reincarnated primordial spirits came crashing down. Zhao Fengchen and the others were in a sorry state. All of their faces turned extremely ugly. At the same time, they finally understood what was going on. He had cultivated a primordial spirit. He was a primordial spirit expert, and he had cultivated 10 primordial spirits. It was one thing to cultivate 10 primordial spirits, but the primordial spirits could form a formation. The formation instantly reduced his strength by 30%. Lin Fei, don't you dare! I'm from the Daikyu Kingdom. If you dare touch a hair on my head, you're dead. As soon as he finished speaking, 5 more Empyrean god puppets appeared. The 5 Empyrean god golems immediately followed me. Zhao Fenshen's forces had been reduced by 30% to begin with, and now they had encountered the Empyrean god golem. The forces which Zhao Fenshen had brought with him were instantly slaughtered. He was the only one left. Lin Fei just watched quietly. Aren't you from the Daikyu kingdom? Don't worry, I won't kill you, but I'm sorry about your subordinates. Now, I'll let you be alone. I don't know if you're satisfied with that. Satisfied my ass. How could Zhao Fenshen be happy? But in the blink of an eye, he was the only one left. It was only because he was a citizen of the Daikyu kingdom that he managed to survive. If it wasn't for the Daikyu kingdom, he couldn't imagine what would have happened to him. This guy was really too much. The 5 Empyrean god golems attacked as well, each blow causing his hair to stand on end. In less than a dozen breaths, Zhao Fenshen could no longer hold on. Wait, don't attack again. If you attack again, I'll definitely die. I admit that you're stronger than me. What do you want in exchange for letting me go? Zhao Fenshen had quite a temper, but of course, at a time like this, he had no choice but to restrain it. If he didn't restrain it, who knew what would happen to him? He lowered his noble head. This guy was simply too bizarre. He had a nascent divinity like this, and was able to set up a formation that was able to reduce Zhao Fenshen's power by 30%. This was the stuff of nightmares. He actually had no idea what sort of technique this was. He had never seen a nascent divinity like this before. Don't worry, I won't kill you. It's not impossible for me to let you go, but only if you hand over everything you have on you. It's that simple. If you don't want to hand it over, then I'll take it myself. You'll suffer a lot, but right now, you'll suffer a bit less. In a place like this, I'll leave a treasure for you. That way, at least you won't be destroyed by others. What do you say? Zhao Fenshen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How could this guy be so shameless? He was actually going to take away all of his treasures? You dare! The 5 Empyrean god golems rumbled towards him. Their attacks were even more ferocious than before. His body was slashed repeatedly and he was riddled with wounds. His vitality was greatly damaged. Wait. I'll give it to you, all right? Hurry up and make your Empyrean god golem stop. Hurry up and make it stop. The attacks were even more powerful than before. Naturally, he couldn't take it. Since he couldn't take it anymore, he had to lower his head and beg for mercy. Zhao Fenshen was quite tactful. After all, there was no one else here. All of the people he had brought with him had been completely wiped out. If he didn't lower his head now, what else could he do? In the faraway void, the 2 8 stars were watching the scene. I knew that kid was a bold one. I didn't think that he would actually dare to make a move against Zhao Fenshen. Not only did he kill off the people around him, he even took away all of his belongings. Without his treasures, that kid is going to suffer here. That's right. The 2 of them hadn't moved too far away. Naturally, they knew that the cause of this was most likely Zhao Fenshen. He wasn't a good person here, either. However, they didn't expect that Lin Fei would really dare to act. Moreover, he was so ruthless. First, he beat this guy up. Moreover, his methods were quite fierce. After beating him up, he took away all of his treasures. Luckily, the 2 of them didn't have any other thoughts. With the reincarnation formation, the Empyrean god golem, the black hole, and his powerful physical body, even an 8-star would have a headache. That's right. If you hand over the treasures, you won't suffer. If you don't hand over the treasures, you'll suffer. It's just that simple. In the end, Zhao Fenshen still handed over the treasures. These treasures came one after another. In the end, there was only one treasure left. When he saw this treasure, he cried. This was a defensive treasure. This meant that he didn't have any offensive treasures. He didn't even have any divine weapons. Just like that, he ran away dejectedly. He didn't dare to show any anger. He only heaved a sigh of relief after running very far away. His gaze was filled with hatred. If he were to be resentful now, he wouldn't be Zhao Fenshen. Haha! Zhao Fenshen To think that you would have such a day. Have a taste of our skills first. Swoosh! Two silhouettes charged out. Zhao Fengchen's resentful expression turned into fear. He turned around and ran. He didn't dare to stop at all. He didn't expect that another guy would appear. He was really lucky. Previously, he wasn't afraid. Now that two people had appeared, things were different. He didn't have any treasures, and he was injured. What else could he do other than run? Chapter 5095. After obtaining such a batch of treasures from them, Lin Fei really gained a lot, especially Zhao Fengchen. He had a lot of things on hand, but he had no choice but to hand them over and leave dejectedly. In fact, Lin Fei could even feel that someone was targeting that guy. As for what the result would be, it was easy to imagine. He would definitely suffer greatly. This suffering was not something that anyone could endure. If he was unlucky, he might even be killed. Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Fei at all. Fellow Taoist Lin, you /Re still the best. You easily took care of this guy. This guy has a stomach full of anger. Whether he can leave this place alive or not depends on his luck. True, Lord Kumu naturally didn't /T like this Zhao Fengchen. This guy wasn't /T a good person. This time he was really dealt with. So what if you /Re from a first-rate faction? You still suffered a lot. Even if you /Re from a first-rate faction, you still suffered a lot. At the very least, they didn't /T have the intention to make a move. You, Zhao Fengchen, actually dared to make a move? I really don't /T know who gave you the guts to do so. It a pity that he /S from a first-rate faction. Otherwise, I would have killed him long ago. But now he has to suffer a little too. Lin Fei laughed and no longer paid attention to it. We /V gone to a library. Where else should we go next? Let /S hurry up and visit them while we still have time. He had already signed in 5 Empyrean god puppets here. Lin Fei naturally hoped to sign in elsewhere. Even if he went to every place once, he would be able to sign in a lot of things. True Lord Kumu also became especially serious. I don't /T think the other places are too suitable for fellow Taoist Lin. They're /S still one place we can go. Let /S give it a try. I didn't /T dare to think about it before, but now I feel that I should have a certain degree of confidence. That /S the place of inheritance of the Empyrean god. Lin Fei had never heard of this place before, but after hearing the words /inheritance he knew that this place was completely different. This place was most likely quite important. Before Lin Fei could ask, Immortal Kumu had already said it. This Empyrean inheritance ground is a very special place. I heard that this place contains special methods. As long as one has a certain amount of strength, they can go there to inherit some methods. The divine abilities are even more direct than here. Of course, Lin Fei liked such a place. To him, it didn't matter if he didn't go to this place. As long as he could sign in nearby, that was enough. Hence, he headed in the direction of the heavenly gods' inheritance ground. However, this place was more difficult than Lin Fei had imagined. The road ahead was not easy to walk on. Lin Fei could even sense powerful auras coming towards this place. Needless to say, this should be the most bustling place, and there would probably be a lot of experts. During this period, they also met some people. But when these people saw Lin Fei and Immortal Kumu, they didn't pay much attention and directly passed by. However, his eyes were filled with coldness. Of course, it was more of a mockery. All right, can /T I go to the inheritance ground just because my realm is low? Lin Fei seemed to understand why Immortal Kumu said that from the beginning. If one /S strength wasn't /T high enough, they really couldn't /T go. It was such a simple thing. Now that he had strength, things were naturally different. At the very least, even if Lin Fei encountered an 8-star powerhouse now, he could still hold his ground. And if an 8-star powerhouse really wanted to fight, Then Lin Fei wooed and backslash T-mind having a good fight with him. He would see who would suffer in the end. The one who would suffer in the end would definitely not be him. Lin Fei was quite certain in his heart. In front of us is the Empyrean Inheritance Ground, the most special place in the entire Tenjin Temple. If it were in backslash T for your strength, I wooed and backslash T dare to come here. I heard that people don backslash T even dare to approach this place. Once they get close, they will be chased away. Chased away? Lin Fei frowned slightly. With a loud bang, a palm print appeared in front of him. Don backslash T approach, kill without mercy. Just a few large words appeared. It was unknown who had left this behind, but it was indeed filled with a certain degree of deterrence. However, in Lin Fei backslash S opinion, such a method was only used to scare people. Since he was here, he definitely had to go in and take a look. It was the same outside, at least he could still sign in and get some things. This big palm did indeed stay in the void. In other words, this layer contained the power of the void and space. It was very powerful. Those who were afraid naturally left, and those who were in backslash T afraid naturally continued forward. Lin Fei was the kind of person who was in backslash T afraid, and immortal Kumu had obtained a few treasures, so he was naturally very happy. He wanted to follow behind Lin Fei. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at the Empyrean Inheritance Ground. There was no palace here, only a huge whirlpool. This whirlpool was the largest whirlpool Lin Fei had ever seen. It spanned millions of miles. It was really terrifying. Once one got close to the whirlpool, a trace of power would be drawn over, wanting to pull people over. Lin Fei struggled and passed it. He knew that this pulling force wooed and backslash T let him go to the whirlpool to reap benefits. Instead, it would drag him inside and directly kill him. He didn't backslash T see the figures standing in those whirlpools. This is the land of inheritance. It spans millions of miles. I heard that one can obtain some inheritances here, but I don't backslash T know the specifics of the inheritance because no one can enter the innermost area. Immortal Kumu knew quite a lot of things. Lin Fei looked over and indeed felt it. There were indeed figures standing in the middle of the whirlpool. These whirlpools became stronger from the outside to the inside. At the innermost area, there was a faint aura of a 7-star powerhouse. Most of them should be around 8 stars. Of course, it was unknown if there were any peak ones among them. When Lin Fei and the others arrived at the outer area, many pairs of eyes glanced at the two of them, and then they looked away. They finally understood why immortal Kumu didn't backslash T dare to come here. This was really not a place that anyone could come to. It backslash S okay to be in the outermost circle, but not in the innermost circle. A hoarse voice floated over. It was filled with incomparable determination and, of course, deterrence. This was at least the voice of an 8-star powerhouse. This was a very good proof. If you wanted to die, you could go and give it a try. He would definitely kill you easily. Chapter 5096. That should be their warning. This is the world of 8-star experts. Although the library is not bad, there aren't many good things. Therefore, they won't go there. Perfected Lord Kumu obviously knew a lot more. The voice just now naturally shocked him. When he saw Lin Fei next to him, it was a little different. He thought more highly of Lin Fei than anyone else. In the future, Lin Fei would definitely become an expert. He would definitely become a top-notch existence among the young people, and it wouldn't be long before that happened. He was glad that he knew such a powerful guy. Therefore, he told him everything he knew. There were indeed many 8 stars in this place. Lin Fei could feel it too. There were strong and weak 8 stars among them. In fact, he could even sense 2 familiar auras among them. One belonged to Patriarch Fire Cloud, and the other belonged to the Divine Master Observing Moon. Both of them were 8 stars. Of course, they were not considered very strong here. They could only be considered average. Suddenly, one of the figures came toward Lin Fei. He was getting closer and closer. Then, Patriarch Fire Cloud appeared. I didn't expect you to be here too. It seems that you want to try your luck. If you have the guts, come with me. Patriarch Fire Cloud turned around and left after saying that. Perfected Lord Kumu was very surprised by his words. The situation was a little different from what he had imagined. He didn't expect Patriarch Fire Cloud to come in person. Lin Fei followed him. He was naturally bold, so he could naturally see it as well. Although the Fire Cloud ancestors' words were cold, one could more or less tell that it was the case. This time, Patriarch Fire Cloud was prepared to resolve the conflict left by the previous fight. He was quite clear about this. Since he had taken the initiative to come over, Lin Fei definitely had to give him face. He was not afraid that Patriarch Fire Cloud would call other people over. If he called other people over, he could leave calmly. His reincarnation spirit was not a joke. Once the reincarnation spirit exploded, it would be extremely powerful. Therefore, as long as one was smart, he would know what to do. Just like that, they followed Lin Fei all the way here, although some of their gazes swept over Lin Fei. However, Lin Fei didn't take it seriously. In the blink of an eye, he came to the innermost part of the whirlpool. Of course, there were also figures around. Some of these figures were old and some were young. Without guessing, this was indeed the land of inheritance. Only the younger generation could come here to inherit. As for Patriarch Fire Cloud and Divine Lord Observant, they were not standing at the front. It could be said that they were standing at the back. Of course, this was because they were 8 stars. If not for being 8 stars, they wouldn't be qualified to stand here. I didn't expect that I would be able to see the Legacy Land in my lifetime. The Legacy Land is right in front of us. Do you see that circular platform in the innermost part? I heard that as long as you can stay there for a certain amount of time, you will be able to obtain a certain amount of inheritance. Some of these inheritances are powerful, while others are ordinary. Perfected Lord Kumu's expression changed. He knew a lot and didn't expect to come here to see this. It was really beyond his imagination. Actually, even if Perfected Lord Kumu didn't say it, Lin Fei could see it. The round platform in front of them was indeed very mysterious, although it was protruding from the ground. Not everyone could stand on it. At this moment, a figure passed by. It was a young figure. As soon as the young man's figure landed on the ground, he instantly unleashed all kinds of supernatural powers. He landed steadily on the ground, and there was some sighs coming from the surroundings. "Kid, aren't you very powerful?" This is the inheritance platform. As long as you have the strength, you can go up there and compete. However, those who are able to come here are the most powerful kind of geniuses. They are at least second-rate forces, and most of them are first-rate forces. Some are even peak forces. This was the voice of Perfected Lord Kumu. His voice was much better than Ancestor Fire Cloud's. Ancestor Fire Cloud and Perfected Lord Kumu were actually quite smart. They naturally knew how powerful Lin Fei was. Initially, they thought that Lin Fei wouldn't come here. If he didn't come here, it naturally had nothing to do with them. However, it was completely different here. At the very least, it was an opportunity for them to get in touch with him. Such a son of destiny was destined to perform on this big stage in the future. Therefore, if they could get in touch with him now, it would definitely be beneficial. That was why Ancestor Fire Cloud brought him here. Only 8-star powerhouses were qualified to bring people here. An ordinary 8-star could only bring 2 people here, but some powerful people could bring more people here. This was a tacit rule among 8-star powerhouses. After all, to 8-star powerhouses, the inheritance here might be of some help to them. It wasn't as big as the inheritance of young people. This was the conclusion of generations. Therefore, the people competing on the circular platform were all young people. As soon as Perfected Lord Kumu's voice sounded, some figures rushed towards the source of the voice and began a vigorous battle. Even Lin Fei's eyes were shining. These were indeed some powerful people. All of them could erupt with 5-star or 6-star strength. Although he had encountered many opportunities and even obtained lots, he didn't seem to have much of an advantage compared to them. This was just what Lin Fei thought. But in fact, if they were to fight, Lin Fei had a much greater advantage than them. After observing for a while, he could often discover some things. The few of them kept fighting until the last person had a certain level of strength to withstand the attacks. These people had to fight to stabilize their position, and this position could only be fully recognized if they could hold on for 30 minutes. Therefore, not everyone could stand on their own. It was no wonder that perfected Lord Kumu said so. After all, this place was considered a real test of strength. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes slightly. If he were to sign in here, perhaps the reward he would receive would be extraordinary. At the very least, once he activated the reincarnation primordial spirit, he would be able to suppress the other party's strength. Even if he didn't use the reincarnation primordial spirit, he could still use the heavenly god puppet to block the other party. This was something that Lin Fei could clearly sense. However, he decided to take a look first. After all, the situation wasn't very clear. The surrounding forces were either first-rate or top-tier forces. Therefore, he had to think about it first. The error-free chapter of Invincible King of Upgrade will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There are no advertisements on the website. Please collect and recommend the mobile game bar. Those who like the Invincible King of Upgrade, please collect. The Invincible King of Upgrade mobile game bar updates the fastest. Chapter 5097. After this idea popped up, it became extremely firm. At the very least, for Lin Fei, as long as he could sign in this place, he should be able to get something good. Just look at the 8 stars around him. If it weren't for Ancestor Fire Cloud bringing him in, it would be quite difficult for him to come in. He would probably have to display his full strength. If that happened, he might be targeted by others. It might be difficult for him to reach the top of this round platform. But now, it was very easy for Lin Fei. As long as he went over now, he could easily land on this round platform. Fortunately, Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry. He planned to observe the situation first. As long as there was no problem, he would naturally step onto this round platform. At that time, the other 8-star powerhouses wouldn't even make a move, even if they were at the peak. This way, Lin Fei would have a chance to sign in on it. Hence, he wasn't in a hurry. As the saying goes, haste makes waste. Lin Fei could understand this saying very well. Just like that, the first round of battles was still very intense. From time to time, someone would go up. The person who just stood still would be chased down. Then another person would go up. Wave after wave, it was a dazzling sight. That was until a young man with a huge shadow hovering behind him finally took on everyone's attacks. He had been standing steadily for half an hour. For many people, half an hour felt like a day passed like a year. But compared to the harvest, it was definitely very high. This is a young genius of the giant race. The giant phantom behind him is very powerful and can erupt with all kinds of magical abilities. At its strongest, it can erupt with 3 heads and 6 arms. The observing moon divine Lord told Lin Fei from time to time. In a short period of time, Lin Fei learned about the origins of these geniuses. They were indeed quite powerful. They were either first-rate forces or top forces. Of course, there were also some second-rate forces. Their overall strength was still very strong. The one on the far left is the strongest here, and the 2 on the right are ranked 2nd and 3rd. You'll have to be careful if you encounter them. Each of them has their own mystical techniques and protective treasures of their clans. They even have the legendary protectors. Even 8-star martial artists like us won't be a match for them. That was all. Lin Fei heard a lot of news. This information was quite useful to him. It didn't take long for Lin Fei to have a good understanding of the forces here. In particular, these people were all very strong. Not a single one of them was weak. Every single one of these people was quite powerful. However, these people had brought their juniors here to gain experience. Whoosh! A gigantic golden crow appeared in the air. It appeared on the young man's body, which shocked many people in the surroundings. That's a golden crow of flames. That's a powerful technique. I heard that once you completely master it, you'll be able to display a powerful flame ability and instantly burn the void to the 99th level. Many people cried out in surprise. They also recognized it. Lin Fei could also feel the power of the golden crow of flames. It was indeed very fierce. It could even burn the depths of the void. It was not something that could be compared to. It was no wonder that everyone liked to be on this level. You decide when to go in. You should know that the round platform here won't last for long. If you miss the opportunity, there won't be another one. God, Lord Observant Moon, began to speak to Lin Fei. After all, he had high hopes for Lin Fei. Especially when Lin Fei came here, no one noticed him at all. But they knew how powerful he was. They couldn't help but ask. Lin Fei smiled. There's no hurry. Let's watch for a few more rounds before taking action. Anyway, this place will last for at least 10 days to half a month. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Land of Inheritance. Lin Fei's words made the divine, Lord Observing Moon have a good impression of him. At the very least, this person was quite smart. He also knew that there was no hurry at this time and decided to watch everyone's moves first. Of course, the divine Lord Observing Moon did not think that Lin Fei was preparing to sign in. It was naturally different when he signed in the next day. As for the other people's moves, he really did not take it seriously. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. During this period, 2 geniuses went up. They successfully obtained the inheritance. One was a golden crow of flames. The other was an earth ultimate god. After the earth ultimate god was summoned, his entire person would enter a temporary state of invincible defense. Unless one was stronger than the earth ultimate god, one could not break the defense at all. It was considered a very powerful move. It would naturally be different if it was any other time. However, being able to summon the Hercules ultimate god at a critical moment was naturally particularly shocking. Chapter 5098. Finally, a new day had arrived. Lin Fei finally decided to make a move. After all, it was finally the new sign-in time. Naturally, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity. It was better to make a move early. Just as he said, if he was unlucky and the round platform disappeared, it would be bad. The further he went, the more intense the competition would be. So now, as long as Lin Fei could sit on the spot, it would be for the best. Whoosh! Lin Fei directly rushed to the round platform. His speed was quite fast. Because the others had just moved, he had already gone up. Moreover, this round platform wasn't that easy to snatch. From time to time, some people would go up. Of course, some people wouldn't let you stay on it for half an hour. It was also possible that they wouldn't make a move in the first half. Only when it was almost half an hour would they attack fiercely. There were many such situations, so whether one could stand on this round platform or not naturally depended on a certain level of strength. Of course, there was also a certain strategy. As soon as Lin Fei landed on it, he instantly felt that the round platform was different. This round platform wasn't big, just a little wide. So if one wasn't careful, they could easily be knocked down. When he landed on it, everyone's eyes fell on Lin Fei. Lin Fei could feel it more clearly than anyone else. This was the so-called observation. Lin Fei wasn't afraid of their observation. After all, Lin Fei had mastered a lot of skills. He was also a stranger, so it was quite difficult for them to know of Lin Fei's existence. So for Lin Fei, as long as he stood on it, he would naturally be able to receive the reward of signing in. For example, now, Lin Fei could actually sign in now, but he felt that it was still a little too early to do so. After half an hour, he would naturally be able to obtain a certain amount of inheritance by possessing this round platform. And if he signed in during the inheritance, perhaps the probability of him signing in here would suddenly increase. Lin Fei couldn't help but admire himself. He was smart to actually think of such a method. Such a method really wasn't something that anyone could think of. Now, it all depended on who would make a move. Fire, Cloud Ancestor, and Divine Lord Observant Moon were astonished. He really hadn't thought about it. Lin Fei moved so quickly and went up in an instant. Looks like they're preparing to compete. I wonder if this kid can hold on. Patriarch Fire Cloud sent a voice transmission over. I think there shouldn't be a problem. After all, his ability is not inferior to ours. Apart from his lower cultivation level, he also cultivated the primordial spirit array. You should know that the Reincarnation Emperor was extremely powerful back then. With the Reincarnation Array, he suppressed countless experts of the same generation. If they hadn't encountered this reincarnated primordial spirit, they wouldn't have recognized it immediately. With such methods, he was definitely a child of destiny. There must be a big shot behind him. After all, not everyone could cultivate this reincarnated primordial spirit. One step at a time. Others didn't know about this, but it wasn't a secret in the circle. They were all looking at Lin Fei. After Lin Fei ascended the round platform, many gazes immediately turned to him. However, they didn't recognize what Lin Fei was, and they seemed very unfamiliar with him. His cultivation level didn't seem very obvious. Thus, no one was in a rush. They would let him be smug for a while and relax. When the time came, they could chase him off. It had to be known that these geniuses could rest non-stop. Even if they lost, they could go back and rest for a while before continuing. When their luck was good, they would be able to stand on this round platform. This was a form of attrition warfare. Only with incomparable strength could one sit firmly in this position. Lin Fei wasn't in a rush at all. He knew that these people would definitely look down on him, but he didn't really care. Once they made their move, he would naturally use the reincarnated primordial spirit. With the reincarnated primordial spirit, things would be different. It was as if he could deal with all of them by himself. Not to mention, Lin Fei also had the rarer Empyrean God Golem. Once he appeared, he would make them feel the true meaning of pressure. Time passed minute by minute, second by second in such a situation. Whoosh! A figure appeared. It was a young man, and he attacked with a spear in his hands. Streaks of light shot over like dragons. Lin Fei grabbed the saber in his hands, and it instantly transformed into rays of saber light, blocking all of the attacks. This spear user was quite amazing. With a whoosh, he changed locations and actually appeared behind Lin Fei. However, as soon as he appeared, a figure instantly chopped towards him. It was an Empyrean God Golem. An Empyrean God Golem instantly caught him off guard. This is the legendary Empyrean God Golem. Chapter 5099. The Empyrean God Golem appeared. Instantly, someone cried out in alarm. These 8-star powerhouses recognized it right away. This was the famous Empyrean God Golem. Only they hadn't imagined that it would appear in the hands of a young man. Some of these people had acquired Empyrean God Golems as well. These Empyrean God Golems were quite effective. It was quite useful to keep it by his side for self-defense. Only they hadn't expected that this young man would be so capable. He had an Empyrean God Golem right off the bat. This wasn't something that just anyone could have. But of course, that saber blow of Lin Fei's had truly made everyone feel that something was different. At the very least, they knew that this young man's power was that of a close combat expert. Because the power of this saber blow was extremely great, it had instantly blocked the opponent. This was because the opponent's power was at the 7-star level. Although he wasn't that powerful, he was still quite formidable. This was because one step above him would be the 8-star expert, who could be considered one of the most supreme existences in this universe. No, it should be said that he was a second-rate expert. The supreme 9 stars, the ordinary 9 stars, and finally the 8 stars. They were all quite qualified. After the Empyrean God Golem, a single person blocked the young man. No matter how he attacked, he wasn't able to break through. This Empyrean God Golem. Swish! Another person came. This time it was a long-range one. He actually had a great bow in his hands. One ray of light after another shot out. Each ray of light seemed to be locked onto Lin Fei's body. Lin Fei's saber technique was quite formidable as well. Each saber blow was able to block the golem. Then, the Empyrean god golem charged out, charging towards the opponent. This caused the opponent to be rather stupefied. There were even more Empyrean god golems. What the hell was going on? A single heavenly god golem was already extremely lucky. But now, 2 Empyrean god golems had appeared. This naturally gave them a sense of pressure. Who knows where this young man came from? He actually has 2 Empyrean god golems. No wonder he has the confidence to stand on this round platform. He can indeed tie down quite a few people at once. But there are so many geniuses here. He can tie them down. The looks in the eyes of quite a few people began to change. This was because only they knew how important these 2 Empyrean god golems were, especially when he didn't know this young man in front of him. More or less, there was still some suspicion. Whoosh! Another young man came up. I refuse to believe you have more Empyrean god golems. The first attack was a bright moon. This bright moon emitted an endless amount of moonlight attacks. Every beam of moonlight was like a long rope, directly entangling them. Before it reached Lin Fei, yet another Empyrean god golem flew out. As soon as the Empyrean god golem flew out, it immediately began to attack. The 2 Empyrean god golems were enough to stun everyone. In the blink of an eye, a 3rd Empyrean god golem had arrived. It really made their jaws drop. If I didn't have some strength, I wouldn't have dared to come up here. Don't you think so? I'm definitely standing on this round table. If you have any tricks up your sleeves, show them to me. The gazes of many experts changed a lot. This was because 3 Empyrean god golems were different. In other words, he could only restrain 3 geniuses. But this kid's words sounded a little arrogant. Voila, voila. 2 more figures arrived. However, these 2 figures were once more blocked by 2 other figures. 2 more figures came down, and then another Empyrean god golem. 5 Empyrean god golems blocked in front of them. This time, no one dared to underestimate this young man. This young man definitely had an incredible background. If it was just one of them, then he was lucky. But if it was 5, then he definitely had a big shot behind him. But they all recognized everyone present, and it seemed as though there wasn't a big shot behind him. Could it be that this big shot was hiding somewhere in the void? And deep in the void, everyone frowned slightly. They secretly sized up the surrounding area, but no matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find him. It was as though this person had never appeared. The more this was the case, the more they knew that this person might be a peak 8-star existence. Only with a spatial treasure would they be unable to detect him. Thus, their thoughts had changed quite a bit. But, of course, quite a few geniuses felt a hint of pressure as well. This fellow himself was quite formidable, and he had 5 Empyrean god golems as well. The 5 Empyrean god golems were enough to make it so that everyone was temporarily unable to attack. This was because these Empyrean god golems were invulnerable and invulnerable. They were roughly on par with them in terms of power. This meant that they had even less of an advantage. The only thing they could do was rely on attrition warfare. Only by attrition warfare would they be able to defeat this young man. Without attrition warfare, their chances were extremely low. Voila! Several more figures came. These few figures immediately attacked. However, they thought that their attacks would be blocked by Lin Fei. You people alone aren't enough. Chapter 50-100. Lin Fei's words had indeed provoked these people quite a bit, because so many people went up. There were more than 10 people on the scene. But none of them could make this young man feel pressured. It was as if they were playing house. Such a situation was very, very rare. And the more it was like this, the more displeased many of the geniuses. How could he have 5 Empyrean god puppets by himself? And so, one by one, they attacked. The pressure on Lin Fei gradually increased. But they still couldn't break through Lin Fei's technique. Many of the 8-star powerhouses were secretly shocked. They seemed to understand what was going on. This young man was indeed very powerful, and his body was especially tough. They could clearly see that some of the attacks passed through the saber lights and landed on his body. But his opponent didn't seem to have changed much. Only a faint white mark was left on his body. This was enough to prove that his body was very powerful. This was a body refiner, and a successful body refiner. Together with the 5 Empyrean god puppets, he suddenly became mysterious and unfathomable. Because they couldn't find many people like him, there was no way to verify it. This was the most inconceivable thing. He was clearly a very strange person, but his strength was monstrous, not inferior to the geniuses in the slightest. More importantly, he alone was able to resist the attacks of so many people. On the other side, Patriarch Fire Cloud and Divine Lord Observant were delighted. At the very least, their judgment wasn't wrong. This Lin Fei's strength was truly formidable. This kind of power could truly be felt. They were much more surprised when they saw the expressions of the surrounding 8-star experts. The 2 of them were hiding in the back, so no one paid attention to them. If they knew that this Lin Fei was brought in by them, many of the 8-star experts would probably have some thoughts. This way, there would be one less chance for a genius to step onto this round platform. This kid's potential is absolutely limitless. Exactly. Fortunately, we didn't attack again. Instead, we sold him a small favor. He'll probably remember this. Of course, the 2 of them were happy in their hearts. What did it mean to send charcoal in snowy weather? This was what it meant. Although this guy called Lin Fei might be able to barge in. The more they thought about it, the more they felt that there was a super expert behind him. However, that super powerhouse was equivalent to a protector. He would never come out unless his life was in danger. Because of this, they felt even more fortunate. If he had come out rashly, he would have suffered a great loss. This loss really made one's scalp go numb. How great was it now? They had indirectly formed a relationship with Lin Fei. As for how long this relationship would last, they had no idea. However, this did not prevent them from acknowledging Lin Fei. He felt that Lin Fei had limitless potential. Time passed faster and faster. It had been almost an hour since Lin Fei had stood on the round platform. The person who made the move was getting more and more helpless. This guy was really hard to deal with. His fleshly body was like a huge iron plate. He couldn't move it at all. Not to mention 5 Empyrean god golems. The 5 Empyrean god golems were constantly moving about, giving them a sense of what it meant to be a golem. This was the most powerful golem they had ever seen. A golem like this really wasn't something that just anyone could deal with. Unless you were more powerful than this thing, all you could do was stare at it. I told you, if you guys can't handle it, then you can't. Don't waste your energy. This round platform is mine. Lin Fei truly looked down on these people. They couldn't even block the attacks of the Empyrean god golems, to say nothing of himself. From start to finish, Lin Fei himself hadn't used much of his power. But of course, Lin Fei's gaze had been focused on those people. They were the most powerful people here, each of them at the peak of the 7-star level of combat power. However, they hadn't made a move yet. As for why they hadn't made a move, most likely they were studying him. Lin Fei knew very well what was going on. Whoosh! A figure walked out. As soon as this figure walked out, the other 10 or so heavens chosen all retreated. They knew that these powerful peak 7 stars were about to make a move. Only if they made a move would they be able to drive this person off the platform. I thought that none of you today would be powerful, but after seeing you, I feel that you are worthy of me making a move. I am White Shan of the Titan race. Yet another heavens chosen of the Titan race had come out. This wasn't the previous one. This White Shan was extremely large, like a mountain. Suddenly, he transformed to a height of 30,000 meters and with a single hand he smashed down. This smashing down clearly wasn't simple at all. At the very least, his combat power had become incomparably deep. Without comparison, one wouldn't know, but the comparison was very clear. Chapter 50-101. Bai Shan's actions were truly ferocious and terrifying. Many of the seven-star heaven prides felt a sense of helplessness. They probably weren't a match for this giant. They had always heard that the giant god race was extremely talented, and it seemed like that was indeed the case. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed, and the 5 Empyrean god puppets charged forward. This was also his first time fighting with the giant race. This giant race's Bai Shan was indeed quite terrifying. With this palm, it was as though the entire world was in his hands, and it slowly descended. Rumble! The 5 Empyrean god puppets were knocked to the side by the force. Bai Shan's voice floated over. I know that you are quite strong, but I am even stronger than you because I am a giant. The giant's body slowly pressed down. Even though his movements weren't fast, Lin Fei could clearly sense Bai Shan's strength. He was indeed quite terrifying. He looked like a peak 7-star, but his combat strength was probably around 8-star. No wonder the giant race was viewed with such importance. This was because Patriarch Fire Cloud and godly Lord Observant had told him about the giant race. Before exchanging blows, he might not have been sure, but after exchanging blows, he could sense that the giant race was indeed incredibly strong. This sort of strength was filled with power. Anyone who stood in front of him would be suppressed by this power. It was very obvious. It's been a long time since I've clashed with a giant race. This is a good opportunity to see who is stronger. Lin Fei could clearly tell that Bai Shan's methods should be some sort of innate ability. It could maximize one's strength. It was just that his usual appearance was hidden, and this was the true appearance of the giant race. Lin Fei naturally didn't know any of these abilities, but it didn't matter to him. He raised his hand and sent out a palm. A huge hand, a small hand. With a loud boom, they clashed together. A wave of power swept out, but this wave of power was easily blocked by a ripple. There was a formation around that instantly blocked the attack. The ripples continued to spread, and of course, many of the 7-star heaven geniuses were shocked. This kid was actually so strong. He had actually withstood the power of this palm. Since when could he cultivate his physical body to such a strong level? No wonder so many of us couldn't do anything to him. Previously, they felt that this young man should be extremely powerful. Now that he looked at him again, he found that his strength was indeed stronger than he had imagined. With just one palm, he had managed to block Bai Shan. There was a loud rumbling sound. Bai Shan continued to press down, but he found that his palm seemed to be blocked by a force. His tiny body was bursting with boundless power. I don't believe that you are stronger than our giant tribe. Bai Shan roared, and a fire dragon instantly spiraled around him. In that instant, he had actually increased his strength. After the increase in strength, his palm moved again and sank downwards. At this moment, a black hole opened behind Lin Fei. As soon as this black hole opened, the pressure on Lin Fei instantly decreased. He didn't expect this guy to be strong enough to have such a secret technique. After one black hole appeared, another black hole appeared. It instantly absorbed the power and transferred it over. Many people were shocked again. They didn't expect this guy to use a trump card. Bai Shan from the giant tribe used the increase in strength, but he still can't suppress this guy. The black hole can actually absorb attacks to a certain extent. What kind of technique is this? I have never seen it before. It seems that there is a terrifying and dangerous aura in the black hole. Although these 8-star powerhouses didn't make a move, they could see the situation through the black hole. That was this young man was indeed very powerful. He was far more terrifying than they had imagined. He could be said to be an existence that could crush those of the same generation. The few most powerful peak 7 stars also had their gazes fixed on him. They thought that Bai Shan would naturally be able to suppress the other party. Now it seemed that they had thought too much. This young man was really quite powerful. If this situation continued, it was very likely that he would successfully obtain a chance to inherit. This was naturally not what they wanted to see. Bai Shan, a big guy like you, is useless. Let me do it. Another figure flew out. After this figure flew out, he was holding a palm leaf fan in his hand. He charged at Lin Fei. Whoosh! In an instant, Lin Fei's surroundings turned into a sea of fire. This sea of fire was actually purple, and it was filled with terrifying power. Have a taste of my purple heavenly fire. The blazing fire exuded invincible power. For a moment, Lin Fei was in the middle of the fire attack. It almost surrounded his entire body, and he couldn't see clearly. Chapter 5102. The purple heavenly fire was indeed domineering and full of penetration. This time, it seeped into Lin Fei's body. Even the black hole seemed to lose its effect. It was also because Bai Shan was still attacking that his power kept on surging out. Especially when he saw the other person coming out, he became even more anxious. Xian Tianyi, you're not much stronger than me. Watch carefully. I must be the one who crushed him. Your fire doesn't have much strength. Xian Tianyi was considered a rather powerful person. At the very least, the organization behind him had reached the level of a first-rate organization. He was also a peak 7-star. His attack was very terrifying. It seeped into Lin Fei's body. At this moment, Lin Fei really did feel like he was being burned. However, the strength of the fire was still a little lacking. If the opponent was a little stronger, then it would not be so easy to deal with. But now, Lin Fei felt that it was still bearable. It wasn't as terrifying as he had imagined. Whoosh whoosh. The purple heavenly fire turned into many ropes. They wrapped around Lin Fei's body. Every time a rope wrapped around Lin Fei, it would reduce Lin Fei's strength. He actually had such a technique. Following that, the flames transformed into ropes that kept swinging over. Every blow was like a blow from a peak 7-star powerhouse. It was really strange. It was the first time that Lin Fei had seen such a technique. You are indeed a peak 7-star favored son of heaven. Your techniques are exceptionally powerful. However, you still can't do anything to me. Whoosh! Beams of light shot out from the black hole. A Tai Chi diagram appeared in front of Xian Tianyi and blocked the attack. Even so, he was forced to retreat a large distance. He retreated through thin air. Because the powerful force collided with the Tai Chi diagram, he naturally couldn't take it. He had expected that there would be an attack hidden in the black hole. I didn't expect you to hide such an attack in the black hole. You are indeed quite powerful. I really underestimated you. After witnessing that move, Xian Tianyi was even more fearful of this young man before him. Not only did he have 5 Emperine God puppets, he even had a black hole killer move, not to mention a physical body like this. He had never heard of such a person before. Although he knew that there were all sorts of geniuses emerging in the universe, people like him were the strongest. With the support of the sect, he had reached the pinnacle of 7-star a long time ago. In the end, someone appeared who seemed to be even stronger than him. Bai Shan continued to attack. He couldn't even make a move. This naturally made him feel a little embarrassed. Neither of you can do it. Let me do it. A black shadow instantly appeared above Lin Fei. As soon as he arrived in the sky, a huge sword will appear behind him and instantly launched an attack. Myriad swords returned to origin. Huala huala. One by one, the swords flew over. Every single sword was the real deal. Every single sword unleashed the might of a pinnacle 7-star. Furthermore, it was a massive attack from the get-go. There was no stopping at all. Lin Fei finally knew that this person was stronger than the rest of them. This was what Patriarch Firecloud had told him. The most powerful one, Zhao Quan, a true son of karmic luck. As soon as the myriad swords returned to origin appeared, the entire world became the domain of these 10,000 swords. Even the purple flames and Bai Shan's huge palm were retracted at this moment. This was because they naturally knew how powerful this Zhao Quan was. No one would be able to withstand such a move. The 5 Empyrean God puppets were actually quite a bit weaker in front of the myriad swords returned to origin. After blocking it for a moment, they were sent flying. Lin Fei instantly retracted them, and then one black hole after another appeared behind him. It seemed as though Lin Fei had quite a few black holes. No matter how powerful this person was, his black holes were still able to withstand quite a few attacks. The vast majority of the attacks landed on Lin Fei's body. Even now, Lin Fei still hadn't used his samsara primordial spirit. This was because it was still within his limits. Cracks began to appear on Lin Fei's body. The cracks weren't very large, but it was enough to prove that the opponent's myriad swords returned to origin was indeed quite terrifying. This was the first time someone had injured his body. Streaks of blood were left behind. These streaks of blood were increasing in number. This kid really is quite terrifying. He's actually able to withstand young Master Zhao's myriad swords return to origin. I'm afraid that young Master Zhao will use even more powerful techniques of the Tao of the sword. He's self-taught and has mastered the sword mantra. The techniques of the sword mantra are extraordinary. Quite a few people knew how powerful Zhao Quan was. Amongst the 7 stars, he was one of the most powerful. It was said that in the future he would become one of the most powerful 8-star experts. Chapter 5103. Lin Fei also heard the voices around him. He had to look up to this so-called Zhao Quan. He was indeed much more powerful than he had imagined, especially his sword principle, especially the sect origin swords. It was a large-scale attack. It was really one layer after another, and its power was getting stronger and stronger. If it wasn't for his strong physical body, he would have been killed by the sect origin swords in a single move. In this area, there was no chance to escape. Facing the sect origin swords, the entire space seemed to be sealed. There was no way out. The number of wounds on Lin Fei's body also increased. Of course, these wounds did not hurt Lin Fei's foundation. His black hole, on the other hand, contained streams of energy. The amount of energy kept increasing. One could imagine how overbearing this guy's sect origin swords was. It was so overbearing that it didn't seem right. If this is all you have, I advise you to change to another one. Otherwise, you won't be able to do anything to me. Lin Fei laughed. He could be considered to have withstood this move. His myriad tribulations return to origin was indeed powerful, but that was all. To him, it was still a little lacking. As long as he had a strong physical body and the black hole, things would be different. He wanted to see what other tricks Zhao Quan had up his sleeve. Such an opportunity was hard to come by. Swoosh! The sect origin swords was put away. You are indeed strong. You have withstood so many people, and now you can even withstand my sect origin swords. You are indeed worthy of me taking action. 2 streaks of sword light appeared above Lin Fei, one on the left and one on the right. Following that, a huge sword wheel appeared. This sword wheel was like a Tai Chi array, making Lin Fei feel like he had fallen into another space. Following that, the sword wheel moved left and right. It was like a huge millstone. Every time it moved, the void would collapse. With a swoosh, this force directly hit Lin Fei's body. The big millstone moved again. It was another attack. This attack was more overbearing than the previous sect origin swords. It seemed to be locked. The surroundings seemed to have been restricted. This fellow's methods were indeed quite fierce. It was still far from being able to injure Lin Fei. The saber in his hand slashed out. Following that, the void started to shake. After all, Lin Fei had also seen this special scene before and knew about the methods used to refine one's body. Therefore, this eruption was naturally different. What's more, the saber in his hand had really shaken this technique. This caused the surrounding people to be incomparably shocked. The more he looked at this young man, the more mysterious he felt. To be able to withstand the 10,000 returning swords, and to be able to withstand such a move, what exactly was this fellow's bottom line? Logically speaking, such a powerful person would not be able to do anything. They should have received some news, but they didn't receive any news at all. This person seemed to have appeared out of thin air. It was really unimaginable. If you don't have any powerful means, then you won't stand a chance. It was getting closer and closer to the 1 hour mark. It could be said that it wouldn't be long before Lin Fei completely obtained the inheritance on this round platform. Right now, only this person called Zhao Quan could give Lin Fei a certain amount of pressure. This guy who was a peak 7-star was indeed quite powerful. The techniques that he unleashed had reached the level of an 8-star. You're really not bad. You're worthy of me using my most powerful move. Sword, come. All of a sudden, Zhao Quan shouted. After this shout, everyone was stunned. In the void, a beam of sword gleam flew over. No one knew where this beam of sword gleam came from. But when this beam of sword gleam appeared, all the 7-star experts were shocked. Even the ordinary 8-star experts felt their scalps go numb. This sword had definitely reached a terrifying level. Moreover, this sword was only an afterimage. I didn't expect Zhao Quan to have mastered their most powerful move. This sword was not simple. When this sword came over, the void and time froze. Lin Fei had really underestimated this guy's ability. Fortunately, Lin Fei was prepared. After all, he knew that this guy was not simple. In an instant, 10 primordial spirits walked out. Once the 10 primordial spirits walked out, they immediately set up a huge array. In an instant, all kinds of offensive techniques were suppressed. The moment the sword entered this place, it was blocked by the reincarnation array of the 10 primordial spirits. Its strength also became weaker and weaker. Lin Fei unleashed all his strength and punched the shadow. A loud rumbling sound erupted in an instant. At this moment, Lin Fei had nothing to hide. He unleashed his full strength. This was the only way he could withstand the power of this sword. Chapter 5104. Isn't this the legendary reincarnation original god? At this moment, many 8-star experts' eyes lit up. They recognized him at one glance. They were puzzled at first, but the more they looked, the more certain they were. This was the legendary reincarnation primordial spirit. There was a huge change in their expressions. After the sword slashed over, it was suppressed by the reincarnation primordial spirit array. Coupled with Lin Fei's technique, he managed to withstand it. Even Zhao Quan himself was astonished. He narrowed his eyes and recognized it. This was the so-called reincarnation primordial spirit. You are the successor of the reincarnation emperor. The reincarnation primordial spirit was the easiest to recognize. They all had the aura of reincarnation, but not everyone could cultivate the reincarnation primordial spirit. Without a certain level of ability, it was impossible to get started, not to mention cultivating 10 reincarnation primordial spirits. This was because one could only cast the reincarnation array after cultivating 10 primordial spirits. Once the reincarnation array was activated, it could block any attack. It weakened the attack, and in addition to the explosive power of this guy's physical body, this sword was actually unable to seriously injure the other party. It only injured him a little. That's right. This is the reincarnation primordial spirit. Are you surprised? This is the most powerful technique. You gave me a sword at the beginning. Now I'll give you one too. With a swoosh, all the light in the black hole converged and turned into a terrifying attack. It slashed at Zhao Quan instantly. Zhao Quan's silhouette instantly disappeared and reappeared behind Lin Fan. In an instant, he had left behind a shadow while his real body had left. The shadow had actually been killed, but it didn't hurt the other party. Lin Fei wasn't surprised at all. Zhao Quan was definitely a capable person. Such a person had unlimited potential in the future. Ancestor Fire Cloud and the divine Lord Observing Moon finally heaved a sigh of relief. Their hearts were in their throats just now. Zhao Quan was indeed very strong. His final move was extremely powerful. He had actually summoned a sword. That sword was definitely incomparably powerful. The stronger one was, the more powerful the summoning would be. They had heard of it before, but they had never seen it before. The sword that was summoned could kill an enemy of the same level with a single strike. It was extremely terrifying. Now that Lin Fei had one here, they were naturally incomparably happy. If he were to be killed, they could only say that it would be a pity. Looks like you don't have a chance. In that case, it's my turn to inherit this platform. Si Jiasi. Lin Fei wiped his mouth and became humble. This time he had experienced the prowess of the heavens chosen in this universe. He had to continue signing in. At the same time, he made up his mind. This time he had to find a place to properly sign in for a while. Otherwise, he would be at a disadvantage if he encountered some powerful 8-star experts. Zhao Quan knew that he couldn't control this guy this time, so he could only let him inherit. You are indeed quite powerful. However, you are only slightly more powerful than me. When I break through to the 8-star realm, I will be able to kill you with a single slash. Zhao Quan naturally knew that there was a small gap between them, but he wasn't too worried. As long as his strength broke through one more step, he would naturally be able to find this guy. But for the other geniuses, the strength that Zhao Quan displayed, it was indeed incomparably terrifying. This made them feel that they couldn't bear it anymore. Zhao Quan was also a very powerful person among them. The inheritance begins. A voice appeared in Lin Fei's ears. This voice was very mysterious and also very distressed. It was as if it came from a faraway place. In an instant, Lin Fei knew that he could sign in. This was the best opportunity, and the probability was also the highest. Ding! Sign in successful in the land of heavenly inheritance. Obtained 1 Tenjin Temple. The reward came in an instant. As soon as the reward appeared, Lin Fei was shocked. He actually signed in at the Tenjin Temple first. In other words, he obtained these Tenjin Temples. This was simply beyond Lin Fei's imagination and expectations. He didn't dare to imagine that he would be able to sign in to such a palace. Wasn't this supposed to be a legendary existence? He could also sign in successfully. Lin Fei felt like he was dreaming. It was really hard to believe that he had actually signed in successfully. Previously, Lin Fei felt that the probability of signing in here would be higher, but he never expected that he would actually sign in to such a Tenjin Temple. This was the Tenjin Temple. No one would believe it, even if he said it out loud. But he actually signed in just like that. There was really no harm if there was no comparison. He had really picked up a big bargain. Land of inheritance. A faintly discernible figure pointed a finger at him. Endless light shone on Lin Fei's body. As soon as it landed on Lin Fei's body, Lin Fei felt that something was amiss. Mi Hemi, heavenly god, eternal body. Like invincible leveling king, please collect. Invincible leveling king updates the fastest. Chapter 5105. Empyrean eternal body. Lin Fei was slightly taken aback. He actually managed to sign in for such a thing. Right now, Lin Fei was cultivating the ancient eternal body. Now, another Empyrean eternal body appeared. It should be a powerful divine body. However, Lin Fei wasn't too interested in this because it wasn't as powerful as his ancient eternal body. However, after this body fell into his body, Lin Fei instantly felt a slight change. Ding! Congratulations to the host for leveling up the ancient eternal body to the 5th level. This sudden change really made Lin Fei feel different. He finally realized that it was his powerful ancient eternal body that swallowed the Empyrean eternal body in an instant. His physical body had been upgraded. This kind of change was really hard to believe. My physical body has actually advanced by 1 level. This is too unbelievable. As soon as he reached the 5th level, Lin Fei instantly felt different. His strength seemed to have skyrocketed by about 10 times in an instant. This kind of skyrocketing increase was really unimaginable and terrifying. The Empyrean Eternal Body also allowed him to obtain some methods of body refinement powerhouses. It was even more mysterious than what he had comprehended before. The harvest of this trip was really far more abundant than he imagined. Lin Fei also knew that the master of this Tenjin Temple should be a powerful body refinement powerhouse. He was extremely powerful and was probably the strongest existence in the entire universe. The next second, Lin Fei completely controlled the Tenjin Temple. Following that, his figure disappeared. No one knew where Lin Fei went in an instant. Even those 8-star powerhouses could only watch helplessly as he disappeared. They didn't even have the time to notice it. It was as if he disappeared into thin air. What kind of treasure did this kid use? He actually left so quickly. There was no movement at all. There was no void fluctuation at all. See JABX asterisk WX star. See asterisk OSI. This should be a very powerful treasure. I didn't feel any movement either. Originally, they wanted to know more about the origins of this successor of the Reincarnation Emperor. After all, the Reincarnation Emperor was also a very domineering person in the past. It was just that it had been a very long time since a powerful successor had appeared. Although there were a few successors of the Reincarnation Emperor, none of them managed to cultivate a real primordial spirit array. In other words, there were 10 reincarnation arrays. Every single one of these reincarnation arrays was extremely difficult to cultivate. It also depended on one's talent. Without talent, it was basically impossible. Therefore, the appearance of any successor of the Reincarnation Emperor would cause a lot of commotion. However, this time they realized that they knew very little about him. This person had repeatedly appeared out of thin air, and now he had disappeared. Successor of the Reincarnation Emperor, I will let you know what despair is next. Just now, Lin Fei had indeed controlled the entire Tenjin Temple and followed him to a special place. This was a place similar to a small study room. But from such a place, one could see the entire situation inside the Tenjin Temple. The entire distribution map also appeared in front of Lin Fei. At this time, he finally understood what the Tenjin Temple looked like. This was the library. This was the Empyrean's inheritance. This was here. This was here. He looked around one by one. Lin Fei instantly understood the Tenjin Temple very clearly. This is the famous Tenjin Temple. I didn't expect it to fall into my hands. The rewards for signing in are too terrifying. Before mastering the Tenjin Temple, Lin Fei might have only understood half of it, but now he had completely mastered the Tenjin Temple. He could wipe out the entire Tenjin Temple in an instant. He chased all the people out of this place. He could even turn the Tenjin Temple into a speck of dust that kept drifting in the universe. This was also the reason why no one had been able to find the Tenjin Temple before. Here, Lin Fei saw some large and small ancient books. These ancient books all exuded an ancient aura. Needless to say, they should have been left behind by previous generations. He had picked up a huge bargain. Fortunately, he took the risk. Otherwise, he really wouldn't have such a chance. He could also get something by signing in here, but it was far from being as good as signing in now. It seems that I can slowly sign in this Tenjin Temple for a period of time, at least for half a year. Lin Fei's heart was incomparably firm. He decided to sign in at the Tenjin Temple now. Then he would directly use the authority of the Tenjin Temple. The authority of the Tenjin Temple was quite simple. Huala huala mihi. A series of energy enveloped these people. No matter what kind of strength they had, they were all teleported out in an instant. This was the tyranny of the Tenjin Temple. Everyone was dumbfounded. Those who liked the Invincible Leveling King, please collect it. The Invincible Leveling King updates the fastest. Chapter 5106. From time to time, one could see figures coming out of the starry sky. After these figures came out, they were a little dazed. They looked at each other in astonishment. In fact, they couldn't believe that they had managed to escape just like that. Who can tell me what happened? Why did they come out just like that? That's right. Who can tell me what's going on? Why did he run outside? According to previous information, the Tenjin Temple doesn't seem to have its time yet. Why did they come out? Moreover, why did they come out? At this moment, no matter what realm they were in, no one was in a daze, because they had no idea what was going on. They only knew that they came out of the Tenjin Temple and lost their opportunity. Many people were angry, but helpless. No one knew what had happened. Such a situation had never happened before. They could only say that their luck was bad. No matter how they tried to sense it, they couldn't sense the existence of the Tenjin Temple. Just like that, the Tenjin Temple disappeared. It also caused quite a commotion in this universe, especially those first-rate forces. The top forces all felt a little strange. The Tenjin Temple had always been a place of opportunity. Now he had actually disappeared without a trace. It was truly inconceivable. At this moment, Lin Fei didn't think too much. He had already urged the Tenjin Temple to move far away and turned into a speck of dust. The speck of dust was very inconspicuous. In the depths of the void, even if one used their power to scan it, they wouldn't be able to detect the existence of the Tenjin Temple. This was the power of the Tenjin Temple. Only powerful people could detect a trace of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to find it at all. Just like that, the Tenjin Temple had been floating in the starry sky. Then, it floated into a mystic realm. This was also deliberately decided by Lin Fei. This was the only way to not attract attention. He had to sign in here for a period of time first. He would come out after everything calmed down. Fortunately, everyone didn't have a deep impression of him. Even if they did, they wouldn't think too much about it. Just like that, Lin Fei hid in the Heavenly God Palace. The disappearance of the Tenjin Temple caused a great commotion. At the beginning of this universe, everyone was guessing what kind of accident had happened. Some people said that someone inherited the Tenjin Temple. Of course, there were also people who said that the Tenjin Temple had been rebuilt. There were all kinds of rumors. In the beginning, it spread like wildfire. After that, the news disappeared without a trace. This part of the universe had regained its peace. No one went to look for the Tenjin Temple again. Even some of the stronger ones gave up on the idea. After all, the Tenjin Temple had always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Perhaps this time it could only be said that everyone was unlucky. If they were lucky, things would not have turned out this way. So this time, everyone could only say that they were unlucky. If he was lucky, he wouldn't have ended up like this. 1 year, 2 years. In the blink of an eye, 50 years had passed. Over the past 50 years, many major events had occurred in this universe. Just see thus, no one mentioned the Heavenly God Palace anymore. This was because the Tenjin Temple did not leave a deep impression on people. It was only when he came out of the Tenjin Temple that it left such a deep impression. And this time, 50 years passed in the blink of an eye. For Lin Fei, signing in for 50 years really helped him a lot. His progress was extremely fast. Even Lin Fei himself felt like he was dreaming. It was truly inconceivable that he would have such a day where his strength would increase so quickly. In 50 years, my strength has increased by another level. This is great. Lin Fei still looked the same, but his immemorial eternal body had reached the 7th level. Compared to before, it had risen by 2 levels. This was the benefit of signing in for 50 years. Now, Lin Fei's strength had soared to the level of 9 stars. Compared to 50 years ago, there was no comparison at all. 50 years ago, they could still give Lin Fei a lot of pressure if they joined forces, but 50 years later, Lin Fei could suppress them with a single hand. Not to mention, the reincarnated primordial spirits had also greatly improved in this aspect. As Lin Fei's strength increased, the strength of these reincarnated primordial spirits also increased. In other words, Lin Fei was not fighting alone. He had 10 reincarnated primordial spirits. This was completely different. Me Hemi, after signing in for 50 years, it's time to fulfill the promise left by the previous palace master of the Tenjin Temple. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. His entire body appeared inside the secret realm. Then he casually put away the Tenjin Temple. Everyone who likes the Invincible Leveling King, please collect. The Invincible Leveling King updates the fastest. Chapter 5107. After Lin Fei took over the Tenjin Temple, he naturally saw all kinds of information left behind. One of the messages was related to a small, long-cherished wish left behind by the previous divine God Palace Master. For Lin Fei, he still had to complete it. Otherwise, it would be a pity. Moreover, Lin Fei was already prepared to leave the Tenjin Temple. Naturally, it became instant doubt. How could he miss such an opportunity? After exiting the secret land, Lin Fei headed in one of the directions. This task was quite simple. It was to take care of the descendant of this expert. It would be best if he could send some of the treasures he had to help the external path solve the problem. It was quite a simple task. To put it more simply, he was going to deliver something. He had also given a few treasures that could be considered decent treasures. With these treasures and some cultivation techniques, he would naturally be able to cultivate to the level of 7 or 8 stars. If he was lucky, he could even reach the level of 9 stars. This depended on whether the other party had the talent and potential. Lin Fei had become a delivery man on this trip. To him, as long as he could deliver the things, it would be fine. The place where the other party was located was called the World of Massacre. This master god was called the Master God of Massacre. He was considered a very powerful one. Back then, he had also reached the level of 9 stars. He had even reached the peak of 9 stars. He was a very powerful existence. He had even obtained the Tenjin Temple. However, this news did not spread outside. This was because after the Master God of Massacre obtained the Tenjin Temple, he had broken through to become a 10-star existence. That was completely different. Unfortunately, he had never succeeded. In the end, he died in the Tenjin Temple. Before he died, he left behind this last wish. He wanted to give some treasures and cultivation techniques to his descendants. This trip was to this world of massacre. This world was a high-level world. With a powerful existence like the Master God of Massacre, this world would naturally be different. Lin Fei soon arrived outside the World of Massacre. CG, BXWX, OSI. He could feel some auras from outside. This world was still quite strong, and the strongest was actually an 8-star Divine Master. Furthermore, it was at the peak. There were 2 8-star ones like this, except for Zhuge. Apart from them, there were dozens of 7-star cultivators who were average cultivators. There was a group of 6 stars below. This world was considered quite strong, especially the 2 pinnacle existences. With a little more effort, they would be able to break through to the 9 stars. After all, 9 stars was a completely different story. As soon as Lin Fei entered this world of slaughter, he prepared to search. However, after searching through a few people, he found out some information and couldn't help but frown. It's only been 1,000 or 2,000 years, but the forces of the Slaughter God Master have been destroyed. This is a little troublesome. It will be difficult to find him again. I'm afraid that he is not even in the slaughter world. Lin Fei's information was indeed not good. This was because the descendants of the Massacre God Lord's family had already been annihilated by the combined forces of others. Only a few managed to escape. This was not a good thing. At the very least, Lin Fei did not want to return empty-handed. Therefore, he had to search carefully. This world was not small. It was not so easy to find him. It was quite a headache. Anyway, since he was here, what Lin Fei could do was to search slowly, and he had some treasures left by the Slaughter God ancestor. It was definitely related to his bloodline. As he activated them, he couldn't help but smile. It seems that my method is quite useful. I should be able to find him by following this trace of connection. In the past, Lin Fei couldn't use such a method, but now it was different. He could use it easily. Along the way, following the aura, he found that the person might still be in this world. After all, it would be difficult to leave this place without reaching a certain level of strength. For Lin Fei, there was still a chance that he could find him. He should be in a big city in front. The aura here was quite obvious. Lin Fei landed in the distance. Then he entered the city. The most powerful person in the city was a peak 6-star, and there was only one. It was impossible to find Lin Fei. After a glance, Lin Fei quickly locked onto a place. I hope you won't let me down. I came here in vain. Lin Fei's figure flashed. When he came out again, he was in front of a small courtyard. This small courtyard was not big, and it looked rather shabby. But in such a place, there was a person that Lin Fei wanted to find. Who are you? Are you from the Black Tiger Gang? Then you have come to the wrong place. As soon as Lin Fei came in, he felt a cold light. However, this cold light dissipated in front of Lin Fei. Young man, don't be so angry. No, it's not you. Where is the person with you? Invincible King of Leveling Up, please collect. Invincible King of Leveling Up updates the fastest. Chapter 5108. The man was about to say something, but he couldn't say anything in an instant, because this person's eyes were very scary, so scary that he almost couldn't breathe. He knew that the person in front of him was an expert. He was definitely a real expert. Human, who is it? After being asked by Lin Fei, the other party instantly panicked. Then he raised his hand and threw a treasure over. Then he dashed inside. His movements were quite fast. However, as soon as he turned around, he found that he was caught and couldn't move at all. The young man appeared next to him, just like that. Now, you better tell me honestly where the person who was with you went. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the sun tomorrow. In the next second, he heard a voice that made him feel very scared. He was a god of war after all. He could be considered a powerful god of war. But in front of the other party, he didn't even have the strength to struggle. At first, he thought that this person was that person, but he didn't sense anything. Instead, there was a faintly discernible aura left behind. Are you looking for Bai Ruyu? If you are looking for Bai Ruyu, then I can tell you that she isn't here at all. She has been captured by the Black Tiger Gang. The young man was also anxious. He blurted it out. Lin Fei frowned slightly. He thought that this person went out for something, but he didn't expect that there would be some unforeseen events. Found it. That guy is hiding here. Hurry up and surround him. Don't leave a single one alive. This time, we have done a meritorious deed. Don't let the person inside escape. Not even a mosquito can escape. A hurried voice came from outside. It was very loud. Then, a faintly discernible formation directly enveloped the sky above their courtyard. When the young man heard this, he panicked again. It's over. The people from the Black Tiger Gang are here. As soon as the voice fell, someone rushed in from outside. It was really a guy in black armor. There was a tiger head on his chest, but it wasn't an ordinary tiger head. Instead, it was a black tiger head that looked extremely sharp. Moreover, this black tiger head was actually a treasure that could provide a certain level of defense. The person who rushed in was a tall and burly man. His eyes fell on Lin Fei and the young man, and then he laughed out loud. You can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching only to find what you're looking for without even looking for it. You're actually hiding here. Are you coming with me? Let's do it. A huge net was cast down. The net was black, but it was a powerful treasure. It directly enveloped the two of them. The person who had attacked was quite powerful. He was actually a 1-star divine master. This kind of strength was already considered very strong. Even in some small worlds, they could contend for hegemony. You are a member of the Black Tiger Gang. It seems that you are a small leader. Then let me ask you, before the net could fall, it was torn apart. Then, a ray of light passed by the tall figure. He noticed that everyone around him had fallen to the ground. Instantly his scalp went numb, and his spine broke out in a cold sweat. He realized that he had encountered an expert. Even if I'm a small leader, what can you do to me? A treasure was thrown out. It was a fire dragon, and its power was quite strong. It had actually reached the level of a 2-star. However, the fire dragon was destroyed with a flick of a finger when it reached Lin Fei. Then, another flick of a finger landed on the man in black armor. In the blink of an eye, he fell to the ground. He only had half a breath left. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I'm just an errand boy. I'm here on orders to capture someone. Everything has nothing to do with me. The strength of a 1-star divine master was indeed quite strong. However, he felt hopeless just now. The person in front of him was too terrifying. He was at least a 3-star or a 4-star. He couldn't beat him. Perhaps only a few of the hall masters in the Black Tiger Gang could beat this person in front of him. He might as well tell the truth. The young man, who had thought that he was done for, suddenly heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had misunderstood the other party. This person might not be with the Black Tiger Gang. Senior, Bairu was captured by the Black Tiger Gang. Lin Fei walked over. With a flick of a finger, he poked the middle of the tall leader's eyebrows. He plundered all the memories and saw everything clearly. He finally knew what the person he was looking for looked like. It was actually a woman. The Lord God of Massacre had left behind the bloodline of a girl. Looks like I have to make a trip to the Black Tiger Gang. Whoosh! The leader stopped breathing in an instant. You can leave now. Don't bother about this anymore. The error-free chapter of Invincible King of Leveling will continue to be updated on Handheld Bar. There will be no advertisements on the site. Please bookmark and recommend Handheld Bar. Those who like Invincible King of Leveling, please bookmark. Invincible King of Leveling, Handheld Bar updates the fastest. Chapter 5109. By the time the young man came to his senses, he could no longer see this person. She had disappeared completely. The corpses and the formation were gone as well. It was as if nothing had ever disappeared. The young man blinked his eyes. He heaved a sigh of relief and left quickly, because he knew that the Black Tiger Gang would be removed from the list soon. The Black Tiger Gang was a second-rate force, still a little short of becoming a first-rate force. The gang leader was a 5-star divine master. He had more than 10 4-stars under his command, which was considered a relatively strong lineup. He controlled a small city, and this time he had made a great contribution. He had caught a descendant of the Divine Master of Massacre. This was not a small matter. It was a big deal. The entire Bloodshed universe used to belong to the Divine Master of Massacre. However, an accident had happened to the Divine Master of Massacre, and his force was wiped out. All the clansmen of the Divine Master of Massacre were hunted down. Now this was the last one, and he had caught her. Therefore, he was so happy that he had gathered all the higher-ups. First, he would hold a celebratory feast to rejoice. After all, that girl was only an immortal of war. With such strength, there was nothing to worry about. And now, as long as he captured that accomplice, the rest of the matter would be resolved. Leader, the higher-ups will definitely reward you handsomely this time. I heard that you can even get some powerful magic treasures. If you can get a 6-star magic treasure, your strength will go up another level. Maybe the Black Tiger Gang will become a first-rate force. The people below all cheered. The leader of the Black Tiger Gang was a small giant. He was very tall and very fierce. He gulped down a big bowl of wine in one gulp and laughed heartily. You good-for-nothings. What's a 6-star magic treasure? This time, not only can I get a 6-star magic treasure, but I can also join their sect and become a force outside. In this way, we will have a backer. Let's see if they dare to talk to me then. Mang Nan was really happy. One must know that this time he accidentally caught a powerful person. This guy was quite strong. If it wasn't for the fact that he was stronger and the other party couldn't unleash the power of that treasure, he would have returned empty-handed. The others burst into laughter again. No one knew better than them that this time their Black Tiger Gang would really become famous after this battle. No, it should be said that they were completely famous. No one would dare to say anything bad about their Black Tiger Gang anymore, because they didn't dare to offend him. Mang Nan was also particularly happy. He drank a bowl of wine one after another. For him, the wine didn't affect him at all. On the contrary, his mood was getting better and better. Whoosh! A figure appeared in the palace out of nowhere. It seems that everyone is in a good mood. I wonder who the leader of the Black Tiger Gang is. Please tell me. I have something to talk to you about. The sudden scene instantly caused the expressions of everyone present to change. The few divine masters closest to him instantly took action. 2 of them immediately flew over, but as soon as they arrived, they instantly turned into a pool of blood. I will only say it once. I don't want to say it twice. I hope you can understand. An autumn wind swept over. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Whoosh! Whoosh! One by one, the figures fell down. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 people fell down. The remaining people's scalps went numb and their faces turned pale. The first thing he did was point at their gang leader. Don't kill us. Don't kill us. He is the leader. We are just some people doing things. It has nothing to do with us. Mang Nan was a little drunk. He raised his hand and attacked. He had actually grasped some spatial techniques. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Lin Fei. However, when his hand was just in front of Lin Fei, it was grabbed by Lin Fei. He used force. Half of his body collapsed in an instant, and his whole body kept retreating. You are the leader of the Black Tiger Gang. You are so weak. Where did you lock the girl that you recently caught? Please take me there. Mang Nan received the news that no one would come to help this girl. But now, the situation was completely different from him. Someone actually came to help. This person's strength seemed unfathomable. He was a 5-star, but this 5-star could not even touch the other party's clothes. He was directly suppressed. Who are you? That girl is a member of the Massacre God clan. If you help her, you will be the enemy of the whole world. Chapter 5110. This person's strength was too strong. Mang Nan couldn't bear it at all. No matter what move he used, the other party was as still as a mountain. Even with a gentle wave of his hand, he could disintegrate all his attacks. It was like a cat playing with a mouse. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I surrender. I surrender. After a helpless struggle, he chose to surrender. He knew that if he didn't surrender, he would die. This young man could destroy him with a wave of his hand. This was definitely an existence that was stronger than him. At least he was a 7-star existence. It was very likely that he was an 8-star existence or even a 9-stars existence. For such a person, there was no need to offend such a fierce existence. Mang Nan still knew his limits. Isn't it better this way? If you had brought me there at the beginning, everything would have been fine. Don't you think so? But it's too late now. Lin Fei pushed out with one hand. With a bang, this guy turned into pieces. As for the rest of the people, they were the same. He didn't intend to spare these people at all. It wasn't difficult for Lin Fei to find Bai Ruyu. He could already feel a trace of connection. It was deep under the city. Sure enough, there was an underground palace deep under the ground. This palace could also be called an underground prison. There were many people locked here. Their strength was ordinary. And among them, Lin Fei finally found Bai Ruyu. Bai Ruyu was locked in a cage alone. This was a stubborn girl. She looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. However, after Lin Fei took a look, he felt that this girl was not simple at all. There was a special bloodline in her body, which was the bloodline of the Massacre God clan. If she was given a suitable cultivation method and treasure, she could naturally break out the power of this bloodline. At that time, Her strength would also improve by leaps and bounds. Such a person appeared here without any warning. It really surprised Bai Ruyu. Of course, it also shocked the people in the other cells. This was not a place that just anyone could enter. Lin Fei walked towards Bai Ruyu, and the iron door opened automatically. Bai Ruyu also stood up. If you have the ability, then kill me now. If you don't kill me now, I will kill all of you sooner or later. Bai Ruyu's gaze was extremely cold. It was so cold that the surroundings seemed to be covered in frost, and the temperature dropped as well. This feeling was quite obvious. Lin Fei also knew that if Bai Ruyu was given a period of time, she would definitely become a ferocious existence. Just like now, he didn't see anything in Bai Ruyu's eyes. Other than hatred and revenge, there was nothing else. After all, those people had gone too far. Let's talk somewhere else. Bai Ruyu didn't even feel anything. With a whoosh, she arrived at the peak of a mountain. It was so fast that Bai Ruyu felt like she was dreaming. She actually came out. There was a very powerful formation in the dungeon, but now she actually came out. Could it be that this person came for her? I'm friends with your grandfather. This time I came to take a look. I didn't expect so many things to happen. Lin Fei casually came up with a reason. This reason was quite suitable. Bai Ruyu's heart instantly skipped a beat. You are my grandfather's friend. When their grandfather died outside, his friends immediately came and divided up all the benefits of their family. They even killed all their clansmen, because their bloodline had the most powerful existence, and that was the power of the bloodline. Once the power of the bloodline broke out, it would become extremely terrifying. These people naturally didn't want the descendants of the Lord, Massacre God, to stay in this world. If the bloodline was activated, it would be a strong enemy. Therefore, the only thing they could do was to kill it in advance. This also led to the disaster of their descendants. Now, only Bai Ruyu was left. In Bai Ruyu's eyes, there was only hatred and revenge. I know what you want to do, that is revenge. I can do this kind of thing, but it's meaningless for me. It's different for you. Revenge is best when you do it with your own hands. Therefore, I will take you to cultivate for 50 years. Originally, Lin Fei did give Bai Ruyu skills and treasures to her after meeting her. But unexpectedly, the system actually issued a random task, which was to accept Bai Ruyu as a disciple. If that was the case, it would be fine. But if he accepted Bai Ruyu, he would get a reward. This made Lin Fei happy. This system was really quite humane. No, it should be this task. Bai Ruyu was delighted. Senior, you said you would teach me. You can also say that I accept you as a disciple, but I will only teach you for 50 years. Chapter 5111. Such a temporary mission was indeed nothing to Lin Fei. He only needed to train with Bai Ruyu for 50 years. Moreover, 50 years wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. For Bai Ruyu, not even in her dreams would she dare to believe that she had actually come to such a mystical place. She had actually heard of this place before. That was the so-called Tenjin Temple. It was said that it caused a lot of commotion. In the end, the Tenjin Temple disappeared without a trace. No one knew where this fellow had run off to. But now, Bai Ruyu found out that the Tenjin Temple that she had always wanted to go to was actually kept away by Senior Lin Fei. No, it should be her master now. Although she was only an in-name disciple now, Lin Fei did accept Bai Ruyu, but he didn't make her a real disciple. She was only an in-name disciple. Even if she was an in-name disciple, that was still quite good. That was it. Lin Fei brought Bai Ruyu and began to train. Bai Ruyu's foundation was still very good, but it wasn't easy to quickly improve her strength. Fortunately, Lin Fei had a lot of resources. He obtained a lot of treasures from signing in, not to mention that the Lord of Massacre also left behind some of his family's treasures that could stimulate his bloodline. Basically, there was no need for Lin Fei to teach Bai Ruyu. It was just to give Bai Ruyu a better cultivation environment. There was one good thing in the Heavenly God Palace, and that was time acceleration. The time acceleration here could be maintained at a ratio of 150. In other words, the first day here was equivalent to 50 days. 1 year was equivalent to 50 years of time. 1 year was equivalent to 50 years of time. If it was 10 years, it would be equivalent to 500 years of cultivation. Even a pig could fly very far in such a short time. In fact, Bairuyu's potential was indeed very powerful. Basically, she didn't need Lin Fei's guidance, and this Bairuyu quickly broke through. After breaking through from the war god realm to the divine master realm, he had broken through from 1 star, 2 stars, and 3 stars all the way up to 5 stars before slowly coming back down. Lin Fei knew that this was because his bloodline power had been completely burned away. However, he had only cultivated for less than 15 years. In addition to the time acceleration, it would take a total of 750 years to reach the level of 5 stars. It was neither fast nor slow. After all, this was the power of the bloodline. At this point, there wasn't much for Lin Fei to do. I think it will be difficult for you to break through after reaching this realm. After all, your bloodlines are different, and your cultivation methods are the same. You can go out now. Lin Fei had been observing from the beginning to the end. He found that after Bairuyu reached this realm, she was also the so-called 5 stars. Bairuyu's progress became slower and slower. Bairuyu knew that this should be the limit. At this time, what she needed to do was very simple, and that was to go out and gain experience. For example, to take revenge. Master, I also know that I seem to be stuck at a bottleneck now. With my family's cultivation method, it seems like I really need to go out and cultivate through battles. Only then can my realm continue to break through. Thank you, Master, for letting me cultivate here in peace for such a long time. Bairuyu said. After 15 years, Bairuyu was still as cold as ever. After cultivating her family's cultivation method, the coldness on her body became heavier and heavier. She really was like a Rakshasa. Go and take back the glory of your family. Master will support you from behind. Just like that, Bairuyu left the Tenjin Temple. As soon as she left, she found that she was actually not far from the world of slaughter. She could even vaguely feel that she had dived into the world of slaughter. Her eyes also became even colder. In 15 years, Bairuyu had lived through 750 years. The hatred in her heart also grew stronger and stronger. After Bairuyu came in, a figure also came in. That was Lin Fei. Naturally, he would not leave now. This world of slaughter was also considered a medium world. It was also relatively strong. Not to mention that there were 2 peak 8 stars. There was also a large group of 7 stars below them. If Lin Fei was not here to watch over Bairuyu, once they surrounded her, it would be a little troublesome. Now, what Lin Fei had to do was to watch quietly. The Tenjin Temple was also placed in the world of slaughter by Lin Fei. This thing had an extremely high level of concealment. Even a peak 9 stars couldn't see through it. This was something that Lin Fei had learned from his own practice. He was also exceptionally relieved. He sipped his tea while watching Bairuyu, waiting to see what kind of tricks she had up her sleeve. It was really worth looking forward to where she would start. She was the first in-name disciple that Lin Fei had accepted. To complete this mission, not only did he have to accept Bairuyu as an in-name disciple, he also had to unify the entire world of slaughter. In this way, Lin Fei would be able to get a reward. As for what the reward would be, it was unknown. Chapter 5112. Bairuyu returned to the world of bloodshed once again. Although it had only been 15 years since she came back, she had already cultivated for 750 years in the special space where time was accelerated. It was even colder than before. That deep coldness seemed to cause the void to slowly freeze. At the same time, she knew that returning to the world of bloodshed this time was destined to set off a reign of terror. Only then would her master be satisfied, and at the same time, let the glory of the family spread once again. Although this path was difficult, Bairuyu knew that she could definitely do it. This was the hope of her master and the hope of the family, and now it was all on her. Bai Ruyu already had an idea. This time, she did not plan to hide anything, and decided to start with the first force. It was a family. This family had a deep relationship with their family because they were also part of the Bai family. In the past, because of the power of their branch family, their bloodline was completely annihilated, and he was one of the few who managed to escape. After that, this Bai family committed all sorts of crimes, helping them to capture people from the Bai family, and could be said to be the real accomplice. If one were to say that Bai Ruyu hated those people, then she naturally hated them to the extreme. But if one were to say who she truly hated, it would naturally be this traitorous Bai family. In other words, they were a branch family. If those people's hatred could only be 7 points, then this Bai family would be 10 points. This was also the reason why Bai Ruyu wanted to find this Bai family right from the start. Although this Bai family still had many experts to her as long as she kept fighting, she would be able to destroy this Bai family. One day, she would be able to completely destroy this Bai family. What she needed to do now was to first make the people from the Bai family feel fear. Although Bai Ruyu was only a 5-star now, with the addition of treasures and treasures, she could completely burst out with the strength of a 6-star. The strength of a 6-star wasn't very high, but it was very fierce. With this kind of strength, she could almost do a lot of things. The Bai family had a huge city, and all the benefits of this city belonged to the Bai family. This was the benefit of betraying the Bai clan all those years ago. As soon as Bai Ruyu arrived, she quietly snuck into the city. He knew his own strength, well, even though he had not made a move yet. Bai Ruyu was ready to find some people from the Bai family. They found their target so quickly. It seems like this city has something to do with Bai Ruyu. Lin Fei, who had been drinking tea, also felt that this city was different. He felt that there was an aura in this city that was slightly related to Bai Ruyu. This made Lin Fei look forward to it even more. He believed that a lively scene would soon appear, and it was even faster than he had expected. The 100 Flowers Tower was the favorite place of the young masters in the city, and it was also a place where they spent a lot of money. He really couldn't afford to play without money. In the evening, a few figures walked out. These figures appeared to be relatively young. As soon as they appeared, many people moved to the side. No one was willing to offend these people because they were the masters of the city, which meant that they were the disciples of the Bai clan. In this city, anyone could be offended except the Bai clan. Once someone offended the Bai clan, it would be difficult to leave this place. Although the Bai clan would never make a move directly, many things were done by the Bai clan. However, there was no evidence. Therefore, regardless of whether it was a newcomer or an old person, once they came here, they would basically receive a notice. That was, they could offend anyone but the Bai clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to leave even if they wanted to. Ha ha ha, today is too enjoyable. That guy was beaten up by me. An arrogant young man laughed loudly, and the people around him also started to flatter him. Of course, the 3rd young master is powerful. How could those guys compare to the 3rd young master? Their eyes are all white. These few outsiders have the nerve to fight with the 3rd young master. I really don't know who gave them the courage. If I were them, I would come and apologize to the 3rd young master now. The one who was called the 3rd young master was a member of the Bai clan. He was also the son of the Bai clan's current leader. He had many sons, and among them, the 3rd young master was one of the more elegant ones. He was more favored because he looked like the current leader. This also made the 3rd young master arrogant. As long as he was in this city, no one dared to say anything. It could be said that he dared to show it, but did not dare to say it. With a whoosh, a figure suddenly appeared. No one knew when this figure appeared, but with a flash of crimson light, they saw 3rd young Master Bai's head fly into the air and fall to the ground. Bai clan's remnants. Death cannot wipe out your crimes. The cold voice was filled with endless coldness. In an instant, everyone's expression changed. Then their vision blurred, and they could no longer see the figure. Only the headless third young master was left on the scene. Something big happened. Invincible King of Upgrade will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There will be no advertisements on the site. Please collect and recommend the mobile game bar. If you like the Invincible King of Upgrade, please collect. The Invincible King of Upgrade, the mobile game bar updates the fastest. Chapter 5113. After third young master Bai was killed, people quickly rushed over. It was the Bai clan. They couldn't sit still after such a big thing happened and rushed over immediately. Then, they saw third young master Bai get killed. The higher-ups of the Bai clan had ugly expressions on their faces, not knowing who did it. Of course, they brought a lot of treasures and started searching for the culprit. They had to find him no matter what. Just as they were searching, something else happened. A few disciples of the Bai clan who were training outside were also killed. In just 2 days, it caused quite a commotion. One should know that the Bai clan was quite famous in the universe of bloodshed. Though they were despicable people, they did occupy a big city and produced many strong cultivators. This time, they had lost quite a number of Bai clan disciples, and among them was the third young master Bai. Just like that, many people realized that someone was targeting the Bai clan. Though they didn't know who it was, the words they left behind were enough for everyone to understand. This was definitely a blood feud. To have a blood feud with the Bai clan, there was no need to guess. It had to be someone from the main bloodline of the Bai clan. Back then, the main bloodline of the Bai clan either escaped or died. There were only a few who could survive. But this time, it was obvious that the culprit was targeting the Bai clan. It was very likely that it was someone from the main bloodline. Many people began to drink tea and eat, becoming lovers of gossip. As a result, the Bai family became even more vigilant in their search. They searched the entire city and even activated a formation. The meaning was very clear. They had to find the culprit no matter what. As long as they didn't find him, the city wouldn't be open to the public. At this moment, everyone was panicking. Under these circumstances, someone from the Bai clan was killed. Nobody knew where the culprit was hiding, but they knew that a disciple of the Bai clan was killed right in front of their eyes. This was like a huge slap to the Bai clan's face. Everyone in the Bai clan felt very uncomfortable. A loud crash resounded. Many of the furniture in the living room were turned to pieces. This generation's Bai family head had a gloomy expression. Everyone felt a wave of helplessness. Of course, most of it was a kind of humiliation. Their Bai family had been killed one after another. Putting aside third young master Bai, ninth young master Bai was dead. They had lost 2 young masters, and this was definitely coming for them. Can't you pieces of trash find out who the culprit is? Bai Nu stared at everyone. The higher-ups present all lowered their heads, because until now they hadn't found much information. It was as if this person had appeared out of thin air. The more it was like this, the more they thought about it, the more uneasy they felt. If this guy wasn't dealt with, who knew what would happen when the time came? Perhaps their Bai family's disciples would still die. The longer it dragged on, the greater the impact on their Bai family's influence. This kind of blow was not something that anyone could take. Patriarch, if I'm not wrong, this person should be Bai Ruyu, who disappeared not long ago, which is 15 years ago. I heard that Bai Ruyu was originally captured, but she was inexplicably kidnapped. Even the higher-ups of the Black Tiger gang were wiped out. It's very likely that she's a survivor. Suddenly, one of the elders said. As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. If it was something else, they might not care, but Bai Ruyu's words were completely different. How is this possible? How could Bai Ruyu still be alive? Didn't they say that he had been tracked down countless times? If it's really Bai Ruyu, then it's really troublesome. Although she was young at that time, she had quite a lot of potential. Plus, she disappeared for 15 years. It's very likely that she went to cultivate. The higher-ups of the Bai clan had changed a lot. After all, the main branch of the Bai clan was full of talents. If they hadn't cooperated with outsiders and taken them by surprise, more than half of the higher-ups would have been eliminated. Otherwise, the current by family would have dominated the region, so they didn't want the people from the main bloodline to threaten them. Whether this person is Bairuyu or not, what we need to do now is to find Bairuyu. He must be around us. Bainu was very clear about what was going on. That was, Bairuyu had come to take revenge, and his strength should be extremely high. Both the third young master and the ninth young master had arranged for experts, but they couldn't resist. This meant that the other party was very likely to have the strength of a divine master, and at the level of 5 or 6 stars. That was the only way to kill the third young master and the ninth young master in such a short time, and even his people couldn't help. He couldn't be left alive. He had to find him